everyone has their favorite music. People turn music all the way up so they can feel it and be away from whatever they're feeling, or channel directly into an exact feeling. Where poetry is like, don't escape it, lean into it, feel all of it. Here's this, you're sad, be sad, all the way sad. But in being all the way sad or feeling whatever emotion it is, you learn more about it because you're in it. A lot of people try to avoid it, and that's why they don't learn stuff about themselves or that feeling, how to deal with it. People just escape it.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bindlism, a philosophy to a self-sufficient lifestyle. We are really excited to present episode 36 with our new guest and member of the Bindlism community, Kyle Tape. Kyle's also known as the Confused Poet. As a multifaceted artist, Kyle covers all spectrums of creativity, from photography, dancing, and acting, to DJing and poetry. We delve deep into the world of DJs and poetry and the beauty of self-expression through art. Kyle brought such a great energy and perspective to this episode, and we are so grateful for his input. Let's just get right into it. This is episode 36 with the one and only Kyle Tape. Enjoy.
One of these days I'll get a new phone and then we can do double angles on this shit, but whatever, this is how we've been rolling.
I got an iPhone 6. I understand.
Yeah,
it takes time.
I'm like, oh shit, they're already on the 11. I'm like, God.
I tried to be cool. I got my 6 and I was like, ooh, I'll buy some AirPods.
Hey.
They dropped like 3 more phones and I'm like, oh, what did it cost? Everything.
Honestly, the video on that is so good. Like, it's almost DSLR quality. Like, nowadays, you just need an iPhone.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
I did a wedding one time with a guy who only used his phone. Like, they hired 2 photographers, and I was like, oh, all right.
That's next level.
Fuck you. All right. Just going to take my camera. And literally, the groom hit me like a week later. Was like, you started taking better pictures. More pictures when you saw the camera. I was like, why would you do that to me? Like, he was a friend of mine, too. I was like, why would you even put me in that situation?
It's like, we invested like $10,000 into this guy.
like his camera's like $500 and he's an iPhone. Now, his pictures came out great. I was just mad that, like, imagine them about to kiss, you go, all right.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going.
It's like a selfie with him.
I'm like, all right, cool, it's whatever. But I think my pictures are better.
Fair enough. Your last name is Tape?
Yes, my actual last name is Tape.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't like a...
I get it every day. My name is
Fair.
Kyle, O being middle initial, Tape.
Okay.
And people say, oh, Tape, oh, are you Irish? I was like, no. And then Tape is the worst last name to have in elementary school because kids aren't creative, so they just start listing tapes they know. But in elementary school, you only know like 4. So they just go, oh, duct tape. Scotch tape, masking tape, duct tape.
And it just keeps going.
And then as you get older, just start listing more tapes. So it's not, there's no creative jokes unless I come up with them. But it's just tape.
Tapeworm.
See?
Mixtape?
Middle school, high school.
Yeah.
It just
Advancements.
VHS tape.
Okay, see? With every year, it just got more elaborate. And by the time I became a senior in high school, I was like, all right, I'm just going to become the funny kid so I can roast everybody.
Be like, I've been taking it for all this time.
And like my mother's maiden name was Sales, so when she got married to my dad, she was gonna hyphenate her name, and literally she goes to the counter and she goes, oh, I'm gonna be Lori Sales Tape. Dude goes, Sales Tape. She's like, nope, just Tape. I'm like, I'll be Tape. I'm not dealing with that forever.
Yeah, that's probably a good move. So we're here for episode 36 of Bindlism with Kyle Tape. He goes by the Confused Poet on Instagram. Kyle, why don't you tell everyone kind of how Kyle got here before we get going?
Yeah. So one day I was getting really interested in learning poetry, and I was just like searching through the good old Facebook of different events that were happening in Syracuse, different groups on there. And I stumbled upon yours. Do you want to give a little intro of what the name of that event was?
The event is called a Confused Poetry Slam.
So I saw that, and I think I liked it and followed it. But then, for some reason, like your name popped up, and then I went to the Instagram for your profile, and then I like connected the two, and I was like, oh, this guy looks pretty dope. And so I just like sent you a DM.
Here we are.
Here we are, yeah.
It's kind of funny because
It's easy.
I would
Easy as
say
that.
that's typically how we get anyone on the show. We're just like, hey, we don't know much about you, but like,
Yeah.
we fuck with you in some way or another.
I appreciate it. I like invitations to go anywhere, wherever. So I was like,
Hell
you know
yeah.
what? Sure. Bindlism. What is this? Ooh, it's on Spotify. Pay for Spotify. Listen to an episode. I was like, all right, cool. Yep, yes, I'll do it. I actually said yes before I listened to it. Then I was like, you know what? I should probably learn about where I'm going.
What it is, yeah.
We'll wing it. And then I watched. Then I didn't actually know you guys video recorded until today.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh,
We
all
should
right.
probably give people a warning about
So like
that.
I went home, I was like, I'm gonna go put on a shirt. I was gonna come here straight from work, and I was like, let me grab a shirt and a different hoodie just in case.
Yeah.
Good planning.
Andy's wearing a Bills hat, like always.
See, I used to not be okay with the Bills, and I lived in Buffalo for a year, so
Now you get it.
it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Buffalo, you have to, as a man, you have to drink at least one kind of beer, but like a local beer. Like,
Yeah.
You can't be like, I like Coronas. No, you have to like some random Pilsner from the bar
It's
down
like
the street from your house.
Molson, and then you
Craft
have to jump
hipsters.
through a table.
So I thought all of that was like people just exaggerating. No. Every game, Bills Mafia, someone's going through a table. Like I've loved WWE and wrestling my whole life. Go to Buffalo.
Yo, that's the place.
Tailgating has everybody beat because literally tables on fire. I saw barbed wire on the table. I saw some tacks on the table. I was like, why?
Yo,
I
people
don't-
just
That's
take it too
hardcore.
far.
Like I didn't even go to the game. I was like, one of my friends literally lived down the street from the stadium. So like, let's just go to let's go to tailgate. Nope, wasn't going inside.
Yeah, we're going for my birthday, December 8th. It's a Bills Ravens game at the Ralph. Hopefully there's some snow, just because why not? But Kyle's never been.
Never been. It's
You're-
gonna be rowdy.
Oh yeah,
I've been.
and it's my birthday, so
Bills games are crazy. Snow in Buffalo is ridiculous. The first weekend I was there was like a whiteout blizzard on a Sunday, and I look at the Bills game, and there's 5 guys shirtless in a storm.
Eating Five Guys.
I was eating 5 guys because there's one in the mall out there, and just Bills on their shirt. And I'm just sorry, shirtless, just BILLS. I was like, but it's
Bruh.
7.
just
Now you know.
some things you think you'd never see, you go there and you're like, you know what? I'm not surprised anymore.
Buffalo is a very unique place. I do like going back, and I'll be back there in like a couple weeks, but I like Buffalo as a city. People are just very different.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
They're out there.
Not bad, just different.
So why were you living out in Buffalo? Like, what brought you out to Buffalo?
So my day job, outside of all the artist stuff, is I work at Billy B's. It's an indoor playground for kids,
Okay.
and they offered me a job like December 2017 to run the store out there. And I was like, sure. And it's like, can you move in like 3 weeks? I was like, cool. Then they hit me 2 days later. We need you there by Friday. It's like, oh. Go out there, and I was there from December to July
Of this year? Like,
of last year.
okay.
I was there, till July, and then they offered me a job back at this store because in the bunch of months I was gone, they went through 3 managers here.
Oh, shit.
Instead of promoting me here, I was like, go to Buffalo. And then I was like, I watched all 3 managers leave. I'm like, okay. I was coming back to DJ a party. So it was a pajama party. So I went to the mall to buy some pajamas. Like, let me charge my phone in the store. Go up there. My regional goes, hey, come in the office. So we need you back here next week. And I was like, cool. I'll be back next weekend to do pictures for our wedding. So I'll just come back like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. She's like, no,
We need you back.
you start on Monday as the manager. I was like, oh. Okay.
So you were a manager at the Buffalo store?
I was the store manager from December to about February. Then I realized like this job is very difficult, and I've never been a manager before. They knew that too, so I was like, I'm going to step down. I want to keep a job, but I just can't do this job.
Right.
Then they made me the assistant manager, and I ended up doing the job anyway because my manager sucked. And so then they caught that a couple months later and was like, yeah, get out of there. And then here we are. I've been here ever since.
So you're still the manager of the store.
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
This one in Destiny, right?
Yes.
What is it like being a manager of a store like of that nature?
My job is actually easy for the most part. As a manager, I'm just watching everybody do everything, but I started there 2019. I started there like 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
As like a
So
play
you've-
attendant and a
you've been
cashier.
there for a while.
Oh yeah, so each job is different. Like each position in the store is different, but they're all not too difficult. It's really only busy when kids are out of school or the weekends. Outside of that, we just clean most of the time.
Oh right, because there's no one there.
No one's there, and it's 23,000 square feet. So you got to clean all the slides, the mats under everything, all the nooks and crannies, and everything.
Yeah.
Every day.
Them kids are dirty. Dirty kids.
I love kids. Kids are gross. Kids are gross. I've my first year there, I think I got sick like 3 times, and I never get sick. I got sick like 3 times. After that, I've had the strongest immune system ever because
You were exposed to everything.
you go to put on a wristband, kids coughs on their hands, and goes, here you go. I was like, hand sanitizer.
It just jumps into a pool of hand
Just
sanitizer.
literally, my staff would go, Kyle, why you put it in your face? Because he coughed on me. I don't want to risk it. But alcohol never hurt nobody.
Before we get into your story, I'm just curious. Working there, how many times or how much time have you spent actually messing around in
Oh, in the structure?
the
Billy
stuff?
Bees.
So basically my first 6 months of working there. So there's like a bunch of different positions. Where I started was a play attendant. They're the people that are actually in the back watching the equipment. And when there's no one there, there's nothing to do. As long as you're cleaning up top, you can play on everything. So as I'm up top cleaning, the easiest way to get down, I'm gonna go down the slide. And I used to be more in shape before working in the mall for 5 years, but I would like try to work out and crawl through and try to stay in shape. So I would go through the stuff all the time. And they used to have like a drop-off service where you could drop off your kids. Okay. So they would pay X amount at the entrance at the admissions desk, drop off the kid, and then the kid would play with whatever play attendant was there for 2 hours. So first 6 months, I went through everything. So now my staff would be like, "How let's go on a slide when we get off work?" No.
Been there.
Knees aren't built for that anymore. Nope. I'm old.
So now it's just
It's like, you guys have fun. No one get hurt on the clock, please.
yeah, that's probably the most important thing. All right, so obviously we brought you here because we're interested about your creative world that you've built for yourself. So why do you kind of give everyone a little taste of some of the stuff that you're working on? Like what, I guess, outside of your 9 to 5, what you would kind of title yourself as in the creative world?
That's a very broad question. So I do a lot. I'm poet, actor, dancer, photographer, DJ. And those things are all happening like simultaneously for the most part. Or they were for a while, but now I kind of try to isolate it so you can get better at one thing at a time. So like I DJ most Thursdays through Saturdays up on Orange Crate near Marshall Street. We've been there 2 years, and before that we were at another bar, DJs on the Hill. And I work with a promotion team called Hype Life 315. Hype is for heightening your party experience.
Oh, nice.
So we do that stuff. Acting, I actually acted at the Red House before they moved right to the city center when they were over on West Street. And I did like Dreamgirls, Beauty and the Beast, Ragtime, all those shows.
They were like plays?
Yeah, plays and musicals. So sing.
You sing as well, yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a singer, but I can sing enough to match everyone else.
Hey,
So your
sometimes
background
that's all you need.
Yes. No, I learned real quickly I wasn't a singer when I first became a poet. I tried to like mix songs in with my poetry, and everyone's like supportive. I look back at the videos now, and I'm mad at all my friends. Like, why did you
lie?
let me do this?
At least they were supportive.
No, tell me it was bad.
Just be brutally honest.
I found a video. I was like, why? I literally called one of my friends, Simone. I was like, I'm mad at you. I said, why? You let this happen. You recorded the video and let me feel like I did something cool. It's not it. And I'm glad I learned that. But I did that, DJing, acting. Photography, honestly, I wanted to take an easy class in my one semester in college. So I took photography, failed the class. But
Oh, wow.
I bought a camera anyway, So I was like, all right. And then before I became a DJ, I took pictures for that promotion team. And then eventually the DJ was like, hey, can you do this real quick? I have to use the bathroom. And like with each passing week, his bathroom breaks got longer.
And you just started DJing for him?
So to this day, like even if he's booked somewhere by himself, I'll go to hang out because we're part of the same team. So I go, Kyle, what are you doing here? It's like, he might have to pee.
So over time, did you just start like enjoying it as you learned?
Oh yes, I love DJing now. Like being able to put music together and cater to any crowd is dope. And like because of where we work up on campus, you get SU students from everywhere, Dallas, from overseas, from LA, from Denver. So there's your white music, but they want to hear everything. So we'll mix everything. We'll mix like what's it? 1,000 Miles Vanessa Carlton.
Yeah.
We'll mix that into like Up Down by T-Pain or Look Back at It, A Boogie. Like we'll do those kind of mixes all the time. Like my favorite one to do is the Pokemon theme song Into Jumpman by Future and Drake.
Oh shit.
It doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud.
Every time people are just like, yo.
Because we'll do it, and like when he's DJing, I'll be his hype man, so he'll start playing one, and they'll look at the booth like, what are you guys doing? I was like, just trust us. We got it. Just wait for it. Then it drops, like, oh shit.
They're like, we know.
At the end of this podcast, we're gonna have to just like play that in a little outro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Oh yeah.
Jump, man, jump.
Yeah.
Like and like this recent weekend, I had to DJ with an older laptop. We had two separate gigs, so I had to use an older laptop that we have that we don't use often. So it was all music from like 2017 and before, like nothing new.
Oh, just whatever was stored on it.
Yeah. So like I was pulling out old mixes, and while the whole crowd is rocking, my friends are looking at me like, "We've heard this like 3 years ago. Like you're doing great, but we know you." So it was like Eye of the Tiger into like Candy by Cameo. It was like really like mixes that wouldn't make sense, but because of the crowd we have, they don't mind hearing anything. It's like we even threw like a Spanish party up there a couple weeks ago. And you got these college students, white college students, but they're like dancing to everything because it's not about what you play, it's how you play it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, and then what is it? Dancing. I used to be a dancer. That's about it.
Before the poetry gig?
Well, so it all kind of happened at the same time, especially with dancing, because I helped found my school's like dance crew.
Okay.
And there's a few videos roaming the internet that we're not proud of either.
Oh no.
I thought I was doing something. I thought I was doing great. I was in some street battles and 2-on-2 tournaments, and I'm so happy I've passed that phase of my life. But while I was doing that, and how I got my name as my mentor, she was a Say Yes advocate at the school, so I would go hang out with her, not actually to get a tutor, just because she was cool. And she was like, "What are you doing? Like, pick one. You're confused." And I was like, "Confused? I like it." She's like, "Huh?" Then I became the confused poet. And then poetry started happening, and
She didn't realize you actually were the opposite of confused in that moment. I think she was confused.
she was
The
like
irony.
She was, because I would go in there and I'd be like, "Hey, I just wrote this verse," because I feel like every poet goes to like, "I want to be a rapper" phrase. That didn't last very long, but I tried it. So I was like, I wrote this. She's like, okay. And then I went in there talking about dance one time. Then I wrote my first poem. She's like, "You're confused. Just be a poet." And I was like, confused poet. So, and then poetry, I've been doing since like 2012.
Oh wow. Okay.
I've been competing in poetry slams since my senior year. First one was up at SU, and then from there, I worked with a group called the Underground Poetry Spot that used to be around here. They were like one of the first big Syracuse groups. They just held open mics, held slams. They competed against other city slams teams like Buffalo, Rochester, Albany.
Mm-hmm.
I worked up with Cedric Bolton at SU and Verbal Blend and all this stuff that they do up there, New World Poetic Society, and competed in their slams. And then it kind of just died down after a couple years. So my goal with the slam I'm doing now is to like get that feeling back.
Got it.
Because like if you break it down, there's like two types of poetry. It is, for me, there's your expressive trial, your feelings, I want to get this out, I want to try something new. That's your open mics. That's where you feel free to express yourself in whatever new way you want to try. Then your poetry slams have that like intensity. Those slams, those poems, all the quotables, the where like you find your
The content of it.
yes, and sometimes it's still the same sappy "I love her," but the intensity of it brings it up another level. And like there's a lot of people who don't know the difference. I think like even with the slam I have now, the slam is a competition, so you have to sign up, pay your fee, and then you can win. So I'm like, oh, can I perform at the slam? I was like, you can't perform, you can compete. There's a difference, and a lot of people don't know the difference. So the goal is to teach people the difference and teach and let them know it's okay to have more than one form of poetry.
Even just like the poetry culture in general. Like I feel like there's a disconnect from mainstream and like poetry, and that was one reason why I want to like get more into it, is just like understanding what that is all about, because it's like a whole different world that I'm not accustomed to, and it's like eye-opening.
Yes, because like if you go to like, perfect example, Funk and Waffles has an open mic every week. You'll go there, you'll have people with guitars, comedians, rappers, singers, instruments, keyboards, everything. All these things that get the crowd going, ah, or like rocking with you. Then the poet gets up there. It's all quiet, and they go, huh, you went from I'm laughing my ass off to feelings. And like that's a big drop. So for poetry, sometimes you have to create your own environment where it's only that feeling, so that you get the appreciation.
It's not weird for people.
Why is it weird?
I always tell my friends it's only weird if you make it weird, and people make it weird because you'll go from doing one thing to the other. It's like, I was just laughing, I don't want to be in my feelings now, even though that's the point of open mic. So like
that's the point of
make
art.
You feel all of the different emotions.
That's another.
Yes.
That brings up a huge topic right here. Is like the idea of music and art, being a disconnect from reality, whereas like poetry, it like kind of brings you back to reality and like helps you understand the hard human truths that are there, instead of just trying to like numb yourself to your emotions.
Yes.
Which I find in our culture, society, in our modern era, there's a lot of that going on.
Oh yes, everyone has their favorite music. People turn music all the way up so they can feel it and be away from whatever they're feeling, or channel directly into an exact feeling. Where poetry is like, don't escape it, lean into it, feel all of it. Here's this, you're sad, be sad, all the way sad. But in being all the way sad or feeling whatever emotion it is, you learn more about it because you're in it. A lot of people try to avoid it, and that's why they don't learn stuff about themselves or that feeling, how to deal with it. People just escape it.
I have a question about poetry as someone who's, I mean, I can understand what poetry is, but I'm probably even more disconnected than Kyle from it. My understanding of like music is that all song lyrics for the most part are like a form of poetry. In a sense, what would you say other than the actual like singing aspect of it, differentiates like the poetry you're in as opposed to like someone playing an acoustic song or something?
The difference is literally probably only the instruments, because when you play, like, good example is country music. If you can take just about any country song, strip it of the music,
And just
you can read it as a poem. Like just about any of it, because most country songs are heartfelt songs about my wife, my home, my tractor, like whatever you want it to be, and it's all a heartfelt song. So generally, it's the music, because the music it can take you somewhere else. Music has a way of helping you escape, because there's certain chords, like example, I go to church a lot, so when the preacher's preaching, you'll hear it and go, ooh, he said like that was dope. But when the musicians start playing, it goes from that was dope, what he's saying, to ooh, I like this song, I like this sound.
Yeah.
And you leave that deep thought process into a groove.
It's almost like, I'm just going to get real deep into this already, but it's like music is a way to like give you that physical sensation.
Yes.
That like feeling, you still get a feeling, but like poetry, it like almost is like an internal feeling. It like comes out from your soul, whereas like music, it like feeds the soul. It's like it's the difference between an outward sensation coming in and an inward sensation coming out.
Yes.
In poetry, I find to be that inward to outward kind of feeling.
Oh yes, because when a poet's writing, they're channeling whatever feeling they're having at that moment into a piece. So the goal is for it to be as raw as possible. Even if it's coated in metaphors and rhymes and everything, the goal is for you to feel whatever that is, because they're pouring it out. So that's as long as that feeling is conveyed, you get that. And there's nothing else but their words for you to listen to or understand. So you get all their emotion too.
So if we're stripping down just like the music to straight lyrics in its rawest form, is there a difference between lyrics from music and lyrics, quote unquote, from poetry? Or at the core, it's the same? It's as far as like the elements and the mechanisms with word choice and stuff like that?
At its core, it's the same. It's really all about why you're writing or what you're writing for. When you're doing a song, sometimes you're not concerned with my deep emotional past or my love story. You're trying to make a song that people will like.
Right.
And when you're writing
catchy things.
Yes. And people in poetry do that too. Like, I've made it my goal in going to open mics that have comedians and rappers and everyone else to be different, have quotables, and interact with the crowd and be more than your regular poet. But yeah, it's all about why you're writing it. So if you're writing a song with the intent to get that emotion out, it'll still come out like a poem or with that same poetry intensity. But you can write a song to just want to be catchy and yeah, like any dance craze song you've ever heard was like the Whip Nay Nay. That wasn't written with "You're gonna feel my emotions." It was you're gonna
hype
dance.
Beast.
Yes, or like Jersey club music is all remixes and it's all emotion. It's all not emotionless, but it's all for dancing and fun, not emotional depth.
Damn, that's cool.
So that's interesting because, like, I guess poetry and music are similar in the sense that with music you can make a song for just people to get hyped on, or a song where it's super heartfelt. And then same thing with poetry, you can make a super heartfelt like piece, or something that's just like something kind of catchy that someone's gonna remember.
Oh yes, and the trick is
like Dr. Seuss.
Yes, exactly like that.
Literally
to a T.
That's a banger.
Listen, and I had a friend. His name is Random. He was a poet or is a poet. Really depends on what he wants to do. But like he would go to open mics and he would do random things. Like one time at open mic, he read the back of an Arizona bottle as a poem.
Shit.
Now, if you weren't looking at him, it was like, huh, all right.
Did he have the bottle out?
Had the bottle in his hand. It was just high fructose corn syrup, vitamin C, extra, like just doing the whole thing. And it's just like, all right.
People were feeling it.
And then at the end, he like flipped it like it doesn't matter what you're saying. If you say it, like, and he flipped it and had like a dope couple lines at the end. My man walked up there and read an Arizona bottle.
All that makes me think of is, and I think you're gonna enjoy this one. Is 22 Jump Street.
Oh God. So I love that movie. It is one of my favorite scenes, especially when Channing Tatum finds out that Smith messed with the captain's daughter. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But because I'm a poet, that exact scene is why I do what I do sometimes. So people go, slam poetry, using my hands. And I'm like, yes, it's funny, but get out of my face. Like, why are you doing this to me?
I was just like, whenever I think about poetry, I'm always just like, Cynthia died for us, Cynthia. Just, I really hope that he made that up on the spot.
I'm willing to put money on it that he was just like, I got this, guys.
So, out of all these different crafts, you had like 5 or 6 that you listed off. What drew you to poetry and why?
It is the one I could connect all the others to. Because in a poem, you can add, and people do it all the time, I can add a song to a poem. I've done poetry at weddings while somebody danced to a poem. I can do a poem to music in the background. And I've even used a poem as a monologue for an audition for acting. So it connects. It's
like the foundation of all specialties out there in art.
Yes, because at its base you have to write, and it's all about expression. So I used it to put all the things together that I was doing so that if I wasn't anything else, I could just be the confused poet. And I do, boom, boom, boom. And
yeah, because it's got to be hard when you have all those different things you're doing to be like, just choose one. You can't, it's like master Jack of all trades, master of none.
It is.
It's like, I gotta go into at least one of these and
Oh yeah.
go all out.
What I've learned, and it happened on accidentally, is I've like over the past couple years just done it one at a time. So like it was maybe 2013 and 14 was all about poetry. I'm traveling to Buffalo for slams, Rochester, Albany, New York City. I'm doing all the poetry in the world. Then I got my first acting job, and I was like, all right, we're gonna be an actor all year. And I'm acting, and later on, photography kicked off. I was like, cool, I'm doing weddings, and then DJing has been the most profitable. And interesting because like I have a weird taste in music, so most DJing is mostly song selection. I was horrible. Like
Just based on your music select,
Yeah.
like what you
Like,
personally listen to?
I like 2000s R&B and 2000 style R&B and gospel music. That was it. Rap included, like all that. That's what I listened to. That was it. Fab, Neo, early Usher, like all of that stuff. That was all listened to. So going, and then where we DJ, it calls for you to have a good depth of music knowledge because you have to mix so many different things.
Right.
So the DJ I work with, he listens to everything. He like there's in our laptop there's like polka music, there's Brazilian twerk music, Japanese trap music, like
He's just going, all right, what's the next genre?
literally his phone on shuffle when we have to go somewhere. It makes absolutely no sense unless he's in his feelings and then his phone's like, oh, you're sad. We're gonna be sad today.
Yeah. I know like a lot of people who have a really big depth of knowledge when it comes to music, and it's just like, where do you put all that in your head? How do you know? Just like where do you store all of that knowledge?
So when you're DJing, it's all on how you set it up. So each DJ has whatever, no matter what program you're using, what turntables you're using, the music is set up into crates. Like, because back when DJing wasn't digital, they had actual crates of discs and records. Right. So you set it up in crates in your laptop, and you set it up R&B. R&B breaks down 2000s R&B, slow jam R&B, lusty R&B, more hip hop, and you break it down however you want to navigate it
as specific as possible.
And we make folders specific by event. So if we know we're up at the bar, we have a set of Orange Crate music. We have a set of family reunion music. We have a set of Christmas party corporate music. Like we break it down like that. So you separate it like that in your laptop, and then it's just kind of knowing how to connect the dots. So when we DJ, generally we DJ out of the all folder. That's when all the music is just organized by BPM, and we just
work your way up.
Work it up, down, and we'll listen to a song and be like, ooh, this matches with this. My job a lot of the nights is whenever he's DJing by himself, I'm his hype man. A lot of people think the hype man just yells into the microphone. No. Common misconception. My job both is blocking people from making requests, because if you're a good DJ, you don't take requests. It's like sometimes, depending on the event and if it's warranted, if it's a good song, like we'll listen to it, but like someone goes, I want to hear the song by DaBaby, and we're in the middle of playing Party in the USA, that's not going to mix. Or they'll come make a request and not bring anything for it. They're like, I want to hear the song, not like, I have $5. Can you guys play the song? So I block requests, block drinks being spilled on equipment because it's happened before.
Oh, wow.
Yo, people at bars are just
yes,
unpredictable.
That's a dark place. Yeah, and then I'm also helping him navigate. So it'll be, because DJs, you got to think about it. A normal nightclub is open, especially in Syracuse, like 10 to 2. If you're DJing for 4 hours, you're going to hit a roadblock every now and then. Like, I don't know where to go from here.
Right.
My job is help navigate. Hey, you should play this. Or, all right, bro, hyping him up, less than hyping the crowd up. Like, the analogy I use is, you guys seen boxing matches.
Yeah.
So, like, Floyd Mayweather, when his
back rubbed a little bit.
Yeah, like when he's boxing and he'll go into the corner, his uncle is like his boxing manager or coach, whatever, and literally he'll be in the corner going, simata, ha, 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 ha. Okay, Floyd? And Floyd goes, and he gets back out there, does exactly what he said. You don't know what he said, what it was about, how it affected him, but it worked. That's me in like the booth. So it's all in how you connect the dots and who you have around you.
Do you have like go-to things that you say to him? To hype him up?
Yes. Pardon my... Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is
I'm supposed to check.
this is checked off as explicit.
Oh, cool. And when he watches this, he'll probably be mad I brought it up, but I don't really care. So, so one of our closest friends, one of his cousins, Jeremy, passed away a couple years ago.
Okay.
And whenever he would be around, he'd be like, or like we would go, his favorite thing to drink with us was 100 proof Rumplemans.
Oh shit.
So every time we do one of those shots, we'll look at him and he'll be like, because he hates it, don't be a bitch. And that's all Jeremy would say. It's like, don't be a bitch. So literally, I'll look at him like, don't be a bitch. You know what you're doing. So just go. Or we'll be talking shit. Or I'll just talk like I'm better than him. And I'll really get on his nerves like, I taught you how to DJ. I was like, so? Move. And then I'll mix the song. He'll be like, oh, okay. Gets back on. Like, one of his favorite things to do to get on my nerves is I'll get done DJing and he'll get on because half the time we'll split the night. The last 10 songs I played, he'll play 5 of them, but better.
Oh, like one up you?
Like literally, I'll get off. I would have played songs in like the last 30 minutes. He'll go, all right, cool. And literally mix and scratch and do all the stuff just to play him better. So it's just whatever the situation is. If he's in a bad mood, I'm going to get him in a good mood. I'm going to crack jokes with him. If he's sad, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm here with you. We got work to do. Like, you can be sad later. We're at work. Go to work.
Keeping him on his game.
Yeah.
Damn, and I feel like, yeah, you're right. That is a big misconception because I always see like hype man is literally just some dude being annoying on the stage for like the whole set and just screaming.
Oh yeah, and like with like when rappers have a hype man on stage, I still get the purpose. I find that more annoying because I'm like, I'm listening to him rap. I don't need okay, like it.
Right.
I acknowledge how it can get annoying. So how we hype man for the most part is like when I'm talking, I try not to talk over the music. Mm-hmm. I'll talk in between. I'll cut the music, crack a joke, or like say something like if it's like a popular song, I'll cut it so the crowd can sing. I'll say it with them, or I'll talk to transition songs. So he'll fade out a song, let it like. I'll talk junk, introduce us, hit our DJ drops, and then he'll play a new song. So I'll talk in between, knowing people don't want to bother with that all the time, and then like say. Music cuts out, laptop restarts, something happens, I'm there talking, killing time, or like if we have to, like the bar closes, we'll stop playing music at like 1:55, and then for the last 5 minutes, I'm on the mic cracking jokes, talking junk about people. They'd be like, hey bro, to the dude sitting at the bar, she doesn't want your number, she just trying to get those tips. Unless you give me a ride home, you gotta go. Look at my friends, unless you give me a ride home, you gotta go. If you don't work here, you gotta leave. Guy talking to the bouncer. He will throw you out, Uncle Phil style. Like, I'll just literally
keep it going.
Just cracking jokes, getting people to leave, getting people annoyed, then they'll leave.
Do the venues in which you're DJing at, do they appreciate this end scene here?
So, when it happens, yes, no, it really depends on the night. If it's like been like a regular night where no issues in the clapping in the club or no fights or no like nothing aggressive is happening, and it was a good vibe, then yes, they're like, all right, cool, let's get them out of here, talking about ha ha ha. If it's like a night where like, all right, cool, we want to go home on time, turn it off, shut it down, get out. Like, why are you talking? And then some clubs have, because a lot of people when they go to a club, they'll linger, not realizing everybody that works for the club is going to be here for the next hour if you don't leave.
Right, so you gotta clean and shit.
So the trick in closing out the set isn't even always talking, it's easing the energy down. So like, when we're at like a nightclub.
Get them bored.
So now, the balance isn't bored because we'll have people like, they'll like, one of the clubs will go out, he would always say like, play Spanish music. Now, that didn't work for 2 reasons. One, people just won't leave, they'll be mad you're playing it and we don't want to mess up our image. And our crowd likes Spanish music. For the type of Spanish music he would assume we'd play, they like. So like the trick is getting everybody as hype as possible with still time to relax. So like, the party ends at 2. From like 1:30 to 1:45, we're playing every high energy song, every turn up song, all of that stuff.
Get it all out.
Like if we're at a nightclub, we'll play like Finito, we'll play some Cardi B, we'll play all that. If we're at Orange Crate, we'll play Stacy's Mom, Mr. Brightside, I Write Sins Not Tragedies, very underrated song.
Great song.
Like get everybody singing, and then after that we'll play chill R&B. We'll play the lusty set. If you're at the nightclub, you trying to get her number. Here, I'm gonna give you all the music to go get her number. That way, everybody's calm for like the last 10, 15 minutes.
Have you ever done a poetry performance during one of these sets while you're being hype man?
As a joke, yes. Because one of the bar owners, like managers, found out he found out other Instagrams I used to have 5 different personalities. Now we've narrowed it down to 3. So he saw that and was like, KJ, do a poem. KJ, do a poem. So I was like, cool, all right. And literally it was 1:58. It's like, Tara, play this song. He played the song, and I'm just doing a poem over the scene, over the song for the last 3 minutes. He was like, that was dope. I was like, I know. That's why I do it. Thank you.
So I'm curious now that we've kind of started to get a little picture of what you're doing with your creative side. I'm kind of curious to delve a little bit into your younger years and kind of what influences, what avenues you were taking to kind of get involved in the more creative side of things.
So, your typical black church kid is always in the choir. It's just a thing. Stereotypes are there for a reason.
What was the church you went to?
I went to Tucker Missionary Baptist Church, 515 Oakwood Avenue, right down the street, across from Dr. King Elementary School.
Okay.
I was in the junior choir. My mother was choir director for a bunch of years. So, kind of had to be in the choir. So she was doing that. After that, she was over the dance ministry at the church. So, mom teaches dance. You go dance. So, did that too. And then every Black History Month, each kid that was involved had to pick a historical black figure, and they would do a skit or go up and talk as them, and people had to guess who it was. So first time I did that, I was Jesse Owens, black track athlete, way early years. And then from then, that's when I liked performing. So then whenever we had a skit for Christmas or Easter, I would be in that. So that kind of got the acting, singing, dancing thing kind of started for me way back when.
Damn. So when you were doing all that, you were enjoying it while it was happening? Okay, so were you thinking in your head I'm just always going to do this stuff?
I wanted to be a spy and a Power Ranger until I until I was in 8th grade and decided where I was going to school. I was finna be a spy and a Power Ranger. How was I going to do those things? Hadn't gotten that far. But I was committed well into being a teenager. Nope, still going to be a spy and a Power Ranger. And then I decided I wanted to be a chef one day. So I was like, all right, cool. This makes more sense.
Yeah, more practical.
We can put the two together and wear a costume while you're cooking. Or when you're doing poetry, you could be dressed up as well.
Yes. I've never been dressed up while doing poetry. I have seen people do it. They get all the way into character. I have a friend from, I don't remember where he's from. He used to do open mics here, and he wouldn't do his own poetry. He would do poems from other people, and when he would be in character.
Of that person?
Yes.
Got it.
Even if it's a woman. Like Maya Angelou, or the Rudy Francisco, one of my favorite poets now, he would be in character doing those.
That's actually a pretty ingenious idea, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. It's... And the dopest thing as a poet, just if another artist covers your song, as a poet, you want someone to want to read your poem somewhere, recite it at a graduation. You want someone to do that. So it's a dope thing. I've done that before. I've actually remixed one of my favorite poets' poems before into another version of it.
Who's your favorite poet?
One of my favorite poets that I know, and I know people are going to watch this, one of my favorite poets I know, okay? His name is Seneca Wilson. He was the founder of the Underground Poetry Spot. He has a poem called Medicine. And the hook is she is my medicine. And they clap. She is my medicine. She's my Chiida, my Ativan, my IV, my Sudafed. She makes me feel good. And that's the hook of the poem. So I took she makes me feel good, and I go, real good. And then do a whole nother verse. But it's in the same flow and cadence of his piece. And I did it as a wedding gift. I did it because he was getting married. So I was like, this would be a dope wedding gift. And we're going to have an open mic soon, right after the wedding. So I'm like, boom, I'm going to go perform it. And he wasn't even there. He was on his family moon, and I didn't know. And I was like, oh, you jerk. All right, cool. I'm going to still perform it anyway. And then a couple years later, we actually did a combination version of both of them. He came back to he was releasing a book. He did an event here, and we did like the mega mix of both of them together. It was really dope.
So he enjoyed your remix of it?
Oh yeah, like, he was one of my first mentors, and just like helping me get opportunities to do poetry.
That's awesome. And where is he still in the area? Or
No,
where is
he
at
lives
now?
in Georgia, Alabama. He moved down south. He was from down south anyway, and he moved up here. But him and his family got a job offer running athletic center at a school down there. Now he lives back down there. But like of people I know, like he was a good influence. My friend Random, he's called himself Random Poet or just Ricky Random. My other mentor, Ray Sunshine, or Ruthie Ann Grant, she actually works for the mayor now. And my friends Mike the Poet and Symphony, they all like were in, I might say their poetry prime, kind of, when all that stuff was going on. They were all involved in the same group, and just watching them perform in their different ways kind of help me become a good poet. Like Mike the Poet has a poem about being in a grocery store. It is the best poem about a grocery store you'll ever hear. Because you didn't know you'd want to hear a poem about him being in a grocery store.
I think I've heard him before. He went to We Rise Above one time and performed.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been?
I've not been there, no. But Mike's dad. I call him the Kobe of poetry in Syracuse.
What would you say your style of poetry is?
My style of poetry is very, very direct. Like, and I've gotten better with metaphors and stuff now, but like I took spoken word as literal as possible. Like spoken word. I feel like this. This is how I feel. I feel like this. It's literally all my poems. It was just feelings. Like it, and it came out great, but there was not too deep metaphors. It was just me going on about how I felt. So I'm very direct in my poetry. Now I've learned how to kind of use writing techniques and things I've learned over the years and try to like do better. Because before I couldn't. It was rare I wrote just because I wanted to write. I wrote strictly, I'm feeling this way. Let me get this out. Now I write like, I want to write a poem. I'm going to use this, and this technique. So my poetry is very direct. So that's my kind of style.
So I just kind of looking through your Instagram to kind of get a feel of who you were before this. I saw the Love video. The one on
yes,
on your, it's like in your bio or whatever.
Yes.
So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I can totally understand what you're saying.
Oh yes,
based on that.
That poem was like my first attempt in like I'm gonna use metaphors, I'm gonna use analogies. I'm like, and I've used some of those like basic techniques, but I'm gonna use alliteration. I'm gonna do everything I could possibly think of in this piece. Because when I wrote it, it wasn't for a person. It was just, these are the things I want. And coincidentally, I met a person after that fit all those boxes.
Shit.
Are we together still? No. But it was just weird in how that poem worked out. So that one was my first attempt to be like, I'm going to write this with every technique I could think of.
What do you think love is?
That's a heavy question.
No, that was the answer. Because
it's a lot.
that frustrated sigh, it's kind of what it is, because it doesn't make sense. And on the way to love, you try to make sense of it, and that's when you know you kind of love somebody. It's because you're trying to rationalize this irrational thought of, I like you enough to only be with you forever.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It's when you rationalize the thought, the feelings.
Yes.
So, like, if you're sitting there saying, like, you're rationally telling yourself that, like, don't be with this person, but you still are still with them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or the other way around? Where you try to rationalize to be with that person, even though your feelings might not be there.
Yes, that one. Because it's a weird concept, and it's the idea of love is being willing to go put someone else's needs, wants, and feelings above your own, even though as a person that doesn't make sense, because you should care about your own feelings more than anything.
Right.
So to want to put someone else's feelings above yours means you care about them deeply.
I really liked the spin in that particular poem that you were taking about, like, breaking down the science behind love.
Yes.
And like what that looks like, and then like also adding the math side of like seeing it from more than just an emotional side, but like as like a biological like breakdown. I loved that.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm not gonna do the whole poem, but I'll do that breakdown. So it's like the line goes, "I'm not trying to press you. I just can't stop thinking about you. You don't even have to be my girlfriend. But that doesn't mean that your legs open very easily. Means we have to have a bond stronger than a covalent. That means chemistry. Real quick, let me break down the science of our relationship could be. It'll simply consist of lithium, oxygen, vanadium, and energy. But for those of you who don't know the periodic table, it's a chemical compound for love. And if you don't like science, I was a math nerd myself. Did you guys know that the length of a circle can change the volume it equals? All I'm saying is the next time I date a girl, she'll have to be educated on life." So like, honestly,
Gives me goosebumps, man.
I can't even like the first one, legs open very easily. I heard that from somebody. I don't remember who or where, but I sang this part of the song because I played a song in the background when I was writing the poem. I was like, legs open very legs. Oh, and I was like LOVE, and that's when I started like, Then like have a bond. I hated chemistry in high school. I hated chemistry. Failed that Regents too, but it wasn't required, so it's okay. So it's like have a covalent bond, science. And then I found all the elements. Energy is not an element, but it fits still. And I was like, we can keep this going for another round because there's like a rule of 3 in like public speaking, and like in general things.
Yeah.
Like you say things in 3 times or 3 different ways to kind of get the point across.
Or you do like a chant at like a sporting event.
Yes. So that 3 kind of stuck. So I was like, I like math. I did like math more than science. So I was like, how can we do this again? And then just kind of figured it out from there. But that's actually other reason I stick with my name, The Confused Poet, because those things don't actually make sense saying being next to each other. But it's like, you just got to connect the dots between one thing to the next.
Just by the name itself, Confused Poet, it like opens yourself up to interpretations and allows you to explore different styles, different things that work with poetry. Just trying to understand a little bit about your process. Like, what's that like as a poet for you?
My writing process makes absolutely no sense. But I don't think anybody's process makes sense. My process really just depends on what I'm feeling. So I generally mostly write just when I'm in an emotion. So like my first spoken word piece, I wrote trying to write a poem, and then I deleted it completely. Like I wish to this day I couldn't remember what it was. I wrote it. It sounded horrible. My godbrother laughed at me, and I was like, you know what, delete this. And I was like, ooh, I got something. Lost my train of thought. And I was like, ooh, train of thought. Like the bus ticket I just bought. I'm stuck on a 9-hour ride, fueling my mental drive with a strive for mental stability, stuck in a world full of insanity. Because train of thought, train is a mode of transportation. Know what else is a mode of transportation? A bus, 9-hour ride. On the ride, you think about everything because there's nothing else to do because you're in a car. And I strive for mental stability because everyone needs mental stability in their life, and you're stuck in a world full of insanity because people are crazy. Like process doesn't make sense. I just find the weirdest connections for things.
It's like therapy for you.
Yes.
It's truthful.
Going throughout life, I mean, I'm kind of almost comparing this to how like a comedian would go about like building out a set. Is like they're just absorbing like the environment around them, and then they just like make all these connections.
It's really similar. It's 2 things on the opposite side of the spectrum, because where they're going for the funny part of it, we're going for and like comedians are like the best truth tellers ever. Comedians have the most, like, if you take away like the joke or like you focus on what they're saying, they're like the realest people, period. Because they're giving you raw feelings and emotions. They're just making it funny. We're just not making it funny. Sometimes there are funny poems.
You guys are just blunt about it.
Yeah.
There's something with poetry where like as you're going through and you're just like rattling off different quotes or phrases. Like for me personally, I get this feeling, this like sensation where it's like a goosebumps kind of feeling. Do you get that feeling as you're writing by any chance?
Yes. Especially if it's something I'm writing that's been stuck. because like sometimes like it's easy. I won't say easy, but it's not hard for a poet to like start off a poem. Like you can string 4 lines together to start off a poem. It's that middle part that is what you're feeling. That like the middle part is your emotion in the piece. The start off and the ending is something you worked out, so it sounds good. But that middle part is all that feeling. And once you like try to write a poem about something, like anytime I've had a bad breakup, I've written a poem. But I didn't write it when we broke up. It happened like months later, maybe even like a year later.
You gave yourself time to
dissect it.
And like once that comes out, it's dope. Like I have a piece called The Petty Poem, #The Petty Poem. It's hilarious. Just Google #The Petty Poem, it'll pop up.
So how do you know when like you have like unlocked that discovery of like these certain phrases that match up perfectly and you're like that's it. That's the one.
Trial and error, honestly. Cause like so in most poets, and after you write a poem, we go through a process of workshopping a piece. So that's when like you got it all out, you feeling this, I wrote it all down, I'm gonna say it out loud to somebody. Or I'm just gonna say it out loud. And then as you're going back through it, that's when you go, if I do this, it'll sound better. I'll do this. And it's just trial and error. And like I've done certain poems, like there was a poem I do about the friend zone, which is a dark place to be too. But I did that poem for like 6 months straight. And it was like very little tweaks and nobody would notice except me. Just trial and error. And that's like why you go to open mics as a slam poet.
You see how people are reacting to it. It's kind of interesting because it's like writing like a paper for school or something. You do that like that initial writing of it. It's like the first draft. And then you have to do some revisions before you kind of hone it into that. And even maybe then, it's still like a working piece. Even after you think it's done, you're like, oh shit, I didn't even think to like spin it this way.
Oh, like I gave the graduation speech when I graduated high school, and it probably was the hardest thing I've ever written, because you're writing for a specific occasion, you want to convey your high school experience, but because of the school I went to and everything we went through, I had to find a way to convey all that. So I went to ITC right down the street. And when I got there in 2009, we were freshmen in what used to be just their vocational building that they're going to renovate, but there weren't even seniors in the school yet. We were the 3rd class. So we were there. We didn't have a gym. We had to walk to the YMCA or have gym in a weight room. We didn't have a cafeteria at first. We got lunch from the culinary class and went to our classrooms. After that, the next 2 years while they're doing the school, we moved up to Levy Middle School. So now we're going to school with middle schoolers.
Shit.
And it was worse for me because I just left Levy Middle School. So I was like, I got to come back here.
Damn.
So we were there with them going through all that. And then senior year, we got back to the school. Gym still wasn't ready till about halfway through the year, till basketball season started. Don't have a football field. Things are going like it's. So we had a very unique experience. And everyone in the class knew I was a poet by then, but were very adamant about me not doing any of the things they knew I've done over the 4 years. It's like, we know you tried to rap, we know you tried to sing, you tried to act, you've done all these things. No.
During the speech, you're saying?
Yes.
Got it.
And like, because what the principal did, to be fair, everyone had to write it, like anyone who wanted to do it had to submit a speech, and then he picked the winners. I was also in an oratorical competition that year, not to like, because I like talking in front of people, but I was in it really just to be petty towards someone else because she thought she was smarter than me. So I was like, ooh, I can do this.
Nice.
The speech was supposed to be about the Constitution. The Constitution was mentioned. I didn't actually like make it about that. But I placed 3rd and she placed like 5th.
Mission accomplished.
She was class president. She had higher grades, and like she was in like the top 10. So throughout my whole senior year, I was like, I'm gonna prove I'm smarter than the top 10, just because. I was like 52 out of like 85. But that's just because I found, and I'm thinking about this way now, is like in school the goal is to pass and learn. Grades at a certain point don't matter if you know the knowledge. Yeah. Like same way in college. Like I have a friend, she is one of the smartest people I know, most dedicated people I know. She great grades all through college. And I have friends who didn't get great grades all through college, but the degree, once you're in the real world, is the degree.
Right,
Doesn't
because how many
matter.
people are actually like, well, it says here you got a 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
So I realized that in high school and was like, cool, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
And
Because
it
as
frees
long
up
as
your
you're
time to do other
retaining,
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
because like my thing in high school or it's school in general was taking like a standardized test was always like my fucking like kryptonite. I could study for hours and I could know that shit, but the second some weird like a question's just questioned in a weird way, I'm like, fuck, I don't know anything.
Looking back, things like that kind of help with my poetry because you look at like a question on a test, Sally, like even back like elementary school, Sally has 8 apples. She gave Timmy 4 apples, but her mom gave her 5 more apples. How many apples does she have? Why is a question phrased like that? Like there's no reason.
What
for
scenario is that ever happening?
Okay, but like, so things like that both help. Looking back at it now, help with my poetry, and it helped me with test because, like, any multiple choice testing, anything like that is all technique, and I feel like I can't explain the technique. I don't know how it works. I did it in high school. Like my geometry regents, I passed based solely on my multiple choice. Like of like whatever many questions it was, I got 2 wrong. So I could have not did any rest of the test.
And passed.
And my teacher told me, I was like, oh, all right, cool. And it's just because it's all in the technique of taking tests. And I learned that, and it was just like, all right, cool, tests are easy.
Yeah.
It was like writing papers are easy. That was the best part about being a poet and like liking to write in high school because like whenever people would complain, oh, we got an essay, it's like, oh, here you go. So I was that kid who helped people with their essays. I didn't write everybody's essays. I helped.
Right, because at the end of the day, like, were you getting paid to help them?
I can't say yes or no. But
Cannot
yes.
confirm.
But yeah.
But yes. And it wouldn't always be money. It'd be like favors or I got you later or just stuff like that. Or sometimes just be my friends who need help. And I actually like so I gave a speech and the valedictorian gave a speech. I edited her speech. And then like
Damn.
the next year, someone from another school asked me to help edit their speech. Just because speaking was a thing. And there's a balance because some people aren't public speakers. So they write a speech and they're going to talk like a robot. I'm going to talk to the people that both are involved in the thing and sitting there. So you got to find a balance in what you're saying. And sometimes people don't know how to write as they're talking. So like when I write something, all the ands and buts and ifs and commas and like things that you do naturally when you speak are typed into like my poems and my writing. Like it's all there. So if I just read it, it'll sound like I'm having a
just saying,
conversation.
Like has that voice to it.
So
Yeah.
I help people do that in their speeches and whatnot.
That's the one good thing, one benefit of creative writing. I feel like if you're stuck writing essays and like studying the books and like learning all like the mechanisms behind English, it like creates this dry sense of tone of voice in the writing. Do you ever find a difference between like the writing and like spoken word, and are you able to like find the links between the two?
Writing what?
Just like, is there a difference for you when you're writing down stuff or typing, and then when you're actually like...
Oh, performing it?
Yeah.
Yes. When you write, there's a sense of relief. Like, I got this out. Like, it's like, oh, I did that.
Right,
I
because
feel
that
good.
thought's now.
That's on paper now. It's organized. I've got it out of my system. But that performing is like... It's like a drug. It's like it's adrenaline. It's a dope feeling, especially if you like being on stage. I know people who like will write for days but hate performing in front of people. I won't write often, and I'll perform the same piece just to get that feeling. So it's a sense of relief and then a sense of adrenaline.
So when you're performing, do you do it off the top of your head at times, or is it all meditated before?
It depends on what I'm performing at. If I know, if it's like a specific occasion where like I need a specific piece, I would have thought about it ahead of time. If I'm going to like an open mic, I'll like make a list in my phone of like 1 through 5 of pieces I've done before, and be like, hey, you person audience, pick a number 1 through 5. 3, cool, we're gonna do that one, and then I'll just do that piece just because I want to practice one of them off memory because I'm big on being able to use my hands and gestures and talk like that. But there are some poets who like read from their phones, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's
Wow.
like you wouldn't even know that she has this in her hand unless you're looking at her.
You probably have to memorize the poem though. It's not just all reading.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Most spoken word poets, even if they still read it from their paper, that memorization is crazy.
They're just like trigger words, kind of. Help them along.
You just mentioned that like dopamine rush of going and performing. Do you ever feel like you lose a sense of that when you're on the stage, where like the more you do it, like the less you feel from it, or is it pretty like consistent every time you perform? Or does it depend on, I guess, where you're performing?
It depends on where I'm performing. But generally, if I'm performing poetry, I always have that feeling of, I love doing this. There are times when I'm like in like a stage show or like dancing, like I dance at church too. I do liturgical dance and pantomiming and whatnot. I do that. I teach that all over the state. It's like there's like a dance I did at a church one time, and they're like, "Oh, you should do this for us Easter weekend." I was like, "Cool." I danced at that church the Sunday before Easter, the Thursday before Easter, the Saturday morning before Easter, and Easter Sunday. The same dance 4 times in a row. And when you're dancing in church, it's not about choreography. It's about that feeling in the dance and the emotion behind it and conveying all that. But after the 4th time doing it, it's like...
Robotic.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
You're not calling me right now. You're not.
Damn. Okay. I was just curious, because like, I don't know.
Oh, no. And
Over time, like some people kind of lose it.
Oh yeah, no. It's your job as a creative to, if you love this enough, to make sure you always love it. So finding different things to do. So like, especially like if I am getting tired of doing a poem, I'll find a way to do it differently. Like when I'm performing, talk way too fast. It's because in a poetry slam, there's like a time limit. You get,
Oh shit.
Yes. So yeah, there's a 3-minute time limit with like a 10-second overlap. So you have to fit your poem in there. So I'll practice and like I'll do it slow, and my piece might be like 3:30. So I'm like, shit, I got to get all these words in there. And when you get on stage, there's just that level of hype. You just start
You just naturally are going a little bit faster.
already trying to talk faster than I normally talk fast, and I'm on stage now, so I'm talking way faster. It's like there's old poetry videos of me performing, and I'm like, oh God, I can't understand anything. That's why I didn't get these points. Oh, that's horrible. Like, and it's so cringy watching yourself.
Oh yeah.
It's I used to hate
100%.
like the sound of my own voice when performing, because everybody has a stage voice. It's something you created or something that happens naturally. I used to hate whatever voice I was trying to do.
You think it was not like you? It was something like fraudulent?
It wasn't developed enough yet. Like I hadn't, and it's like it's a part of the process. I just didn't. I was younger, and I think I was trying to like add more bass to my voice that wasn't there yet. So it just didn't come off good. And then my voice already doesn't match. You got bigger black guy, and it comes out, hey guys. So it already doesn't match. So I'm like, let me try to make it match. Now trying to make it match doesn't match even more. Now I've come to terms and gotten better at performing and how to say certain things. So
That's a cool thing about recording. Is like helps you build that self-awareness and helps develop.
I remember the first
Pick out
time.
the things you enjoy about it.
Oh yeah, I remember the first time I was in a recording studio working on a project with my godbrother, and it was rough hearing yourself, because when you're in like a studio recording a song, you hear everything. Every time you breathe through your nose, every time somebody steps and puts something on the table, like everything. And I was like, oh God, why are you doing this to me? We were doing the outro for a song, and he was like, yo, you should do a poem right here. And I was like, okay. Did it, and I was like, no, let's try again. And we had to have done it like 30 times.
Shit.
Oh yeah, and now I didn't know.
In a good way though.
Oh yeah, and I didn't know that was a thing. I thought like, I grew up like, rappers I always talk about one take. So I thought it was like, oh, get in and do it. Nah, rappers for a song will be in the studio forever.
Take it till they get it right.
Don't let anybody fool you and think, yeah, I did this one time. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, and that's okay. It's part of the process, because you'll do it. Because you'll do it, and then you'll go and be like, you'll do it, and then you'll listen to it. Like, wait, I didn't like how I said together. So you go back and punch in or do the whole verse again because you didn't like how you punched in, and
Yeah.
and then with them there's music behind it. The part I was given, the music faded out, so you only heard me. So as me trying to both record for the first time and then stack my own vocals on top of my vocals that have no sound in the background, and then do my ad libs over the vocal, like it was a lot.
That's fully exposed, man.
Super raw.
Yeah.
Love the song to this day because it was my first one, but it was rough.
Do you remember the first time you did poetry, like stand up performing?
Yes. First time I did poetry, I'm gonna say my junior year, so about 2011. It was at the Warehouse.
How old are you right now?
I'm 24.
Oh, okay.
So I had to be about 16, 17. It was at the Warehouse across the street from where the Red House used to be, where Wonder Bar is now. The UPS had an open mic there like every other Tuesday. There was like 7 people there, and I was like, "Hi, I've never done poetry before." And now, to this day, I'm scarred. So what they used to do whenever there was someone's first time on stage, they would yell, "Virgin!"
Oh God.
Now I'm in these rooms not full of people. If it was full of people, I probably would have been fine. Room full of all 6 people just yelled at me that I'm a virgin, and I'm like, I've never performed before. I'm like, oh God. And then I did it, and it was like, huh, all right, I feel better now. Stumbled through it, but it was dope. And then from then on, it was just like, all right, I'm gonna get better at this.
Out of all of the different creative little outlets that you've built, which one is your favorite and why?
That's a hard choice.
You would
Like
think
if you
it's
had to
poetry.
if you had to live in a world where you could only do one out of all of them.
I could only, so I got to get deeper into questions. So I can only do one. I can still listen to other people do the others.
Yeah. Like which one would be the one that you would be like, yes, this is the one I can live with being able to.
It's really tough. It's a toss-up between DJing and poetry because I love performing poetry, like, obscenely. And I perform other people's poetry, too. But that feeling of rocking out a couple hundred people in the crowd, there's no other feeling like you mixing a song and hearing a bunch of girls go, oh, my God! Like, so I'm gonna stick with doing poetry because I know enough cool DJs that I still get to hear it. But, poetry. Just because in poetry, I could still mix in everything else. I could still have a song in my poetry. I could still dance to poetry. I can still do all the things.
Yeah, it's very versatile. I almost think that this is a blanket statement, but all music artists should start with poetry as a base.
Oh,
And just get that experience of like getting their emotions, the core, the thoughts.
Oh yeah,
And
that should be essential for any artist development. Is like you gotta, in whatever you're writing, you should know how your words hit, how you can flip words, how you can use just words alone, and it's not just a rapper thing. Just like any musician who's gonna be doing music, know how to structure your lyrics. That if there's no, like my mother always says, if there's no sound when I'm dancing, would people know what you're doing? So I dance like that. So with your music, if there's no music playing, the people still gonna like what you're talking about.
That's
it's a good way.
and I feel like that's interesting because there's a lot of artists, like musicians specifically, out there that they learn how to play the instrument, right? Guitar, you name it, but then they don't ever develop the ability to write quality lyrics. And there's famous artists out there who are killing the game, right? Making millions, but they're not even writing their own lyrics. And I feel like, to me, the truest artist would be able to do all of it.
Oh yeah.
Encompass. I mean, maybe that's too idealistic to think, but
Oh no, at their base, any artist should be able to do that. Like my favorite artist is Neo. He is. I'm not saying I don't know if he's written all of his songs. I know he's written most of his own. He's written music for Beyonce, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Usher. Like I like him because he was a songwriter first, and then was like, oh, I should just sing my own stuff. But like where I do like that ideologically, there's an art to being able to write something that sounds good for somebody else. Like an artist who does their own stuff but can be like, huh, this will sound good for this person. Here you go. Like, that is dope though. And I've even had a ghostwriter in poetry before one time. My godbrother, like, I was trying to talk to a girl, and I'm like, literally anything I wrote in my senior year, it was about her. I was shooting my shot crazy. Didn't work, but I was shooting. So I was going back and forth with her one time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write something for you. I'll be right back. And I'm in the house. We're playing 2K. I'm on my laptop. I'm trying to like figure this out. He's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm writing a poem. And I wrote it. He was like, no, get out of here. Delete. Here you go. I was like, what is this? He's like, just send it to her. Trust me. I was like, all right, cool. Still didn't work, but the poem was great. She was just like, oh, that was dope. And I was like,
that's not what you want.
just why would you do that to me?
That's dope.
Listen, bruh, the friend zone is a crazy, dark place that no one should ever have to go through.
Oh, no.
The friend zone.
Literally, though, like, it happens to the best of us. Happens to all of us, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, what were your poetry influences? Was that your brother, you said? Or?
Yeah, my godbrother. He's a rapper now, Mac the MC. So he helped me a lot early on. So my poetry influences that I don't know are like my favorite poets, Joshua Bennett, Rudy Francisco, and Gemini the poet. He's like an old school HBO poet who was actually in the slam. I don't know if he wanted me to say that or not. I don't really care. He's in the slam. Like he was the first person to sign up. I posted the flyer. Nice. He emailed me like, count me in, and I was like,
damn.
And like
you weren't expecting that, were you?
And he's lived here since about 2013, 2014. Okay. But I still fangirl every time. Like, he brings his kids to Billy B's. I've seen him in the mall. Like, yo, what's up, man? I'm just like, oh, he's here. Like, he's dope. But like him, Rudy Francisco.
These are all local people?
No, these are also Gemini's local. Rudy Francisco's not local. I don't actually know where he's from. And Joshua Bennett's not from here. He's from New York City. They are. I'm not gonna say who I model myself after, but if you listen to them and then listen to me, you'll hear where it connects. Like how Rudy Francisco starts and ends his poems. He starts them off like in like a conversation. Like if you're not looking at him, you wouldn't know he's starting a poem. You just think he's talking to you, and then it goes into verse. It's like, oh, we're at the poem now. So I start off a lot of my poems, or used to start off a lot of my poems like that, and then he ends them softly. Like a lot of people end their poems with like this dope line, quotable, you're gonna put as a caption on Instagram. He's just like, yeah. And that's the end of the piece.
And then
oh shit.
It makes you want more.
Mm-hmm. And then like Joshua Bennett, his content is just crazy. Like he has a poem called Hip Hop. And there's a poem, I don't remember the name, but it's about like his little sister's death. And he does a poem about expressing love for someone even though they can't hear you. And he did it like at the White House for Barack and Michelle Obama, and it was flames. And I heard them live. Heard both of them live. I met them. Both of them up at SU because every year they have like a poetry institute and they bring different people in. So I was actually in a slam where Rudy Francisco was judging. So probably one of the most nervous performances I've ever done. Is second nervous most because I was in a slam and like he's right there. It's like as close as the camera is. I'm just like, all right, I'm just not gonna look at you. And he gave me a 9, and I was like, oh my god, I'm the best poet ever. Fuck what the score says. And then performing in my first team slam because there are different types of poetry slams. Mainly there's your individual slams and then there's your team slams that have 3 or 4 people in them. 4 rounds each. It was 4 rounds total, and you can send any combination of people. So like, say us 3 were doing a team slam, we would only need the 3 of us because he could do a poem, I could do a poem, you do a poem, and then like you 2 could have your own team piece.
Oh, okay.
And Gemini was the host for that slam. Was a special guest for that slam. I didn't know that. So like we got there, we're in the green room getting ready and everything, and he was like, oh yeah, Gemini's here, and I'm like, you're here.
It's God.
Bro, it's like I like him because when he performs, it seems so effortless. Like he's just like I have a video on my Facebook page. He wrote a letter to Donald Trump.
Oh boy.
And in it now, the letter was written. I want to write another one because he wrote that in like 2016. So I want another one.
We got way more to talk about now.
But like, it literally is just, he's just talking and it just flows so smoothly. And even though it's a letter, not a poem, you couldn't tell.
Wow.
God damn.
Is there a difference between freestyle rapping and poetry?
Yes. No. No, in that they're two raw forms coming straight off your head, kind of straight emotion, straight, I feel like this is what I'm saying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are different in that you're still doing the freestyle to entertain. And not that you don't do poetry to entertain, but the freestyle, like say I go to do a freestyle on the radio, I'm still trying to figure out a bar that's going to be quotable for people to remember me for, not just, this is how I feel.
Mm.
But rap and poetry are basically, they are the same thing. One has music and one doesn't.
Mm.
Like, I have a friend who released a project a bunch of years ago, Rap is Poetry, and he literally just flip-flop between the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool. So me trying to learn poetry, what advice would you give? How to like start? What should I look into?
Well, you've already started.
A little bit. I just like
He wrote a piece.
Mm-hmm.
We got a
I
video.
performed as well.
Oh.
Just a little bit. When I was
He's
in
selling
Binghamton.
himself short for.
But I wouldn't consider
But I guess
myself.
for anyone listening too, who
Mm-hmm.
maybe is interested in poetry, you know, where to go.
I would find YouTube is the best place to go for most things. YouTube and Google. YouTube, you can teach yourself most things. You just go to find what you're looking for. You can look up sad poetry, happy poetry, slam poetry, like whatever you're feeling and whatever you want to learn. You type that in exactly, and something will pop up. So that's where you could go to like figure out like styles of poetry you might like, and then from there, you learn different writing techniques. I say I got way better as a poet when I used to do workshops with a lot of SU students, when they would have their poetry institutes and whatnot, and I learned, like every workshop he would give us a different writing technique, and we'd have to do that. And even sometimes it'd be like, exercise would be getting a group of 4, and then you write a line, pass it, I write a line, pass it, and literally keeping the same story and poem and everything going. So it's just finding your inspirations and things you like, and then finding different ways to express it. Because there's raw emotion, and then once you figure out the best ways to convey that emotion, it's poetry.
Only because you brought this up, Kyle. Do you mind reading off the lucky one?
Ooh.
I don't remember, actually.
Do you have it
I don't know
written?
if I can...
You do one, I'll do one.
Fuck, I'm not going to remember.
You have it written down, right?
It's on my phone.
Why don't you do one and I'll pull the lyrics out?
Gotcha. Okay.
I used to have it memorized, but I wrote it probably like 3 years ago when I was in Binghamton.
Okay.
When I was going to university, and I ended up performing it that year. It was very nerve-wracking. That was my first time performing.
How did people respond to it
When at the event.
when you
the other
actually
day.
performed it?
They liked it. Some lady actually came up and she was like, "Oh yeah, you did a good job," and that like hit home
Oh, yeah.
for me.
People don't understand how like necessary things like that are, like, because a poetry performance and concert and stuff like that and slams are more different than anything else, because when you're doing a song, it's easier to disconnect your emotions from the song. When you're performing poetry, you're in it. Like there's like I've gone, like there's been people performing before, and after they walked off stage, I wouldn't give them a hug because they just talked about how, oh, I almost committed suicide, and talk about it for 3 minutes, and then they go and they'll do their poem on stage, and they'll bare their soul. People are like, yeah, great job, great job. Like, no, do you need a hug? Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
So like the crowd reactions, both in like being supportive and in like letting people know you're with them. I understand. Do you need help? Like those things are essential in performing and being around poets, because like you're not disconnected. I wrote this because this is how I feel,
Right.
and like here I am.
Yeah, I'm in the sphere of like mental health and wellness, and that's what I do for my day job. Is I'm a nurse for like mental health and substance abuse. And like that just kind of like gives me the thought of people like listen to music because they want to feel a certain way, or it helps them like understand whatever emotion that they're going through. But like poetry could be used almost as a form of therapy to help someone even more at like the emotional core, like unlock different perspective, and there isn't, like you were saying, that disconnect from that person performing, and it's like almost a support network at that point. Poets like it's inviting almost to like be vulnerable and like speak your truth of whatever mental health illness or just whatever feelings that you're going through. And that's very like a breath of fresh air. Definitely.
Oh yes, like being able to do poetry, it's like even if you pick like I think one of the more simple writing techniques is like a haiku. It's my favorite form of poetry. It's, if all those who don't know what a haiku is, it's a form of poetry. It's based on syllables 5-7-5. And being able to fit whatever you're trying to say in such a small span can hit deep, because it can just be something like, "Hi, my name is Kyle. I like to catch the bus. Eat tacos on Tuesday." But being able to consolidate whatever you're saying or trying to convey that in such a small thing can be helpful.
Give you some like parameters to work with.
Yeah, because almost like it's like a siphon or a funnel. It like takes all of these different things going on of the human condition, and it's like, bang, that's what it is.
Oh yes.
Kyle,
It's like direct, like how you are with your poetry. This is for anyone feeling overwhelmingly trapped in the day-to-day struggles of life. You are the lucky one to be going through this struggle. Lucky because this is an opportunity to be challenged. An opportunity because with any challenge comes reward. And with any great challenge comes greater reward. And this is one of life's greatest challenges that can be thrown at you. If you can conquer this, then you unlock true potential that will change your entire mindset, a mindset that is capable of overcoming any type of failure, a mindset that has the emotional and mental capacity of accomplishing anything that you put your mind to. This is a mindset that has the ability to positively impact the world. You once said to me that it was unfair that you have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis while others don't have it as hard. And you were right. It is unfair because you are the lucky one.
So there's a funny thing about snapping, at least at like poetry events. Poets like when people do more than snap too. It's weird. Like when someone's actively performing and like they're nervous, snapping helps. I'm very over the top. It's like I want people to clap, stomp, cheer. You go, poet. So yeah, like if you guys are coming to Slam, I'm hosting. I'm gonna give my poetry rules before the Slam so that people know they're.
It's okay.
Yes, like it's okay for you to be loud and extra. Like me, I'm gonna be all over the building when people are slamming. Like my seat's gonna be in the front row. I won't even be sitting there. I'm gonna be distracting, and so I'll probably be walking around the back and have to walk back up to the stage in between poets, or I'll be next to the DJ being a complete fool on stage because I just like poetry that much. Poem. All right. Pick a number 1 or 2.
2.
1.
Okay, I did that wrong. Okay.
Like the same number?
Yes, you got
2.
2. 2.
All right, cool. So, all right, cool. I'll do the one that's not on YouTube. Well, actually, it is on YouTube. It's just not the link I have on Instagram. So this is the poem I remixed from the other poet. I just call it GRG, good, real good. All right, but you guys got to do it with me because there's a video. All right. So when I say good, you guys got to say real good.
Way? Left, right?
Yeah, left, right.
All right.
So she makes me feel good, like
Real good.
All right, that was good practice. All right, one more, and then I'm gonna go straight into it. So, she makes me feel good, like
Real good.
The way she walks is debonair, so whenever she goes by, I have to stop and stare. See, I take a glance and then I wonder, Kyle, do I have a chance? Because I want her. I want her to be mine because she's top of the line, one of a kind, the kind that makes you want to stop on a dime. She's that type of girl. The type that'll give you what you please, supply all of what you need, but know that homegirl's not afraid to do those dirty deeds because she a freak. But I'll be real with you. She's the Frankenstein's monster. She's the beast that should have never been unleashed into the world. She has a beauty unlike anything else. When God made her, he took his time. See, when he sculpted her, he only used his best materials. He gave her teeth shaped from pearls to give her a smile that shines so bright the sun can never compare. She has eyes cut from diamonds to send a glance to the cut right through your heart. She has a mind quicker, sharper than any smartphone, Droid, Apple, Samsung, Windows, Galaxy. It doesn't matter. She has a heart filled with love, hope, dreams, ambition, and everything else you want the woman you hopefully marry. See, if I look at my phone and see that she's calling, I promise to answer. And if I'm walking down the street and I see that she's falling, I promise to be there to always catch her through the good times and the bad. I'll make her happy, but most likely I'll make her sad. Like MJ said, the way she makes me feel rocks my world, and I just want to rock with her all night long. And I won't stop till I get enough, but I can never get enough. So if that makes me a fat kid who sits at a buffet from open to close because I can never be too full when it comes to her love, if that makes me a kid in a candy store because I can never satisfy my sweet tooth when it comes to her sweetness because she makes me feel good, like real good. Like sometimes she makes me feel great. She's my turn of the tiger to one of that big bowl of frosted flakes that I eat with added sugar while sitting in front of the TV watching their brand new episode of Power Rangers on Saturday morning in my underwear, which just so happens to be the best time ever. She's my Saturday morning. But she could also be my Sunday morning. Because waking up next to her every morning is like chasing a sunrise around the world. A never-ending moment of clarity where true love and common sense collide. Because it only makes sense that I love her as much as I do. Because she makes me feel good, like real good. Like when I'm sick, she makes me feel better. She's my medicine. She's the cure for cancer. And she cured Ebola too, so why we don't hear about it no more. She's the cure for the common cold. My chicken noodle soup, my saltine crackers, my orange juice, and my tea with a little bit of honey and lemon that I sip, not to mind my business, but to clear my throat. Long enough to tell her how much I appreciate her and everything that she does for me. Because she's always there for me, you know. She makes me feel good, like real good. And when I'm scared, she even makes me feel safe. She's that calm after the storm. The whistling wind that blows through a town after the tornado took it down. She's the feeling they got after the levees broke, when they knew God had their back and nothing else that can go wrong. She's that silver lining in the clouds in the sky to form the shape of a heart, to symbolize that the sky's the limit for our love, and as long as we keep our love above everything, there's nothing that we can't do. Because when I love her like I do, she makes me feel good, like real good. Live through the pain.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I clap because he said that.
Oh shit! No, so it's funny. So I've had, so that was when originally it was 2 poems. It was 2 separate pieces. That first part before the first Good Real Good was like a piece I wrote about a girl, and then the second piece was the remix. And I was like, you know what, we're just gonna put them together. But the first, so when I did it originally, it had one reaction, and now that I've done it for like, I wrote that, I think, like 2014. Years later, the reaction is completely different because of how people see me in poetry. So like
the way you perform.
Yes.
Is different.
And like I was at a poetry event a couple months ago. I was DJing the poetry event. I wasn't gonna perform. I was chilling, minding my own business, which is hard to do. Like when you're in like that spoken word circle and people know you, you don't
know that they know what you do.
You don't really get to ask if you're performing. It's like, hey, I knew you were coming, so you're next. It's like, oh. So I wasn't going to do nothing, but they had time for an open mic after. And I was like, I'll sign up if there's time. And then there's a brother and sister that came up, and they, like, tore it down. They were, like, 16 and 17. Each did a piece. It was crazy. So I was going to try, like, a new poem I wrote about a girl. Like, oh, I like this piece. I literally walked on stage. So I got up from the DJ booth. I was like, hey, I was going to do something different. You guys don't respect me. You guys are great, and I was trying to mind my business. I can't let y'all leave here not knowing who I am. It's like, so poets can be braggadocious too. Right. Like, hey, we gonna put some respect on my name too. So like I did that piece, and like there were people in the room who knew the piece, but the kids who didn't, they were just like, oh, like the same way I look when Gemini walks by. They were like, oh God, wait, oh. he's like an OG. And in my head, I'm like, these kids are better than me. I gotta
Gotta throw my fire out.
And then I learned, like, I feel it necessary, like, to have, like, a tagline. So, like, at the end of all my pieces, I say, live through the pain. Because before I became a poet, it was, like, the phrase that got me my favorite. Like, in the span of a month and a half, baby sister was born. My mother had, like, 2 different heart attacks. She had a heart attack, like, 3 weeks after. Then got home, 4 days later, had another heart attack. Like, a week later, I get hit by a car.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a rough 6 weeks. So from that, I always tell my mom, when she was in the hospital, like, live through the pain, you'll be good. Live through the pain. Like, and just, like, not realizing it. Then when I started writing, I was like, live through the pain. Ooh, I'm going to say that every chance I get. And it just is like, it speaks living through trials, living through stuff, because there's being alive and surviving. That it's not fun surviving. No one wants to survive. No one wants to have to fight to survive. You want to thrive and succeed and grow and learn from something. So if you live through a situation or live through pain, instead of surviving pain, you then learn from the pain and can do things from it. And at the end of the day, with all my poems, there's some nugget of knowledge and emotion and feeling in there. So the live through the pain at the end kind of ties it all together, that you should live through whatever that emotion is, so that you can learn from it. A lot of people try to hide from it, but if you go into it, you learn, you get to learn more about yourself, you grow, all of that from the pain.
Yeah, poetry is like a really good tool for that too. It's like it almost gives you a reason to go through struggle in your life. Because you know that with any struggle that you get, then you're going to get something out of it, because then you can turn it into written word.
Yes.
And then it helps other people.
It kind of makes you come to terms with the reality of your life, whatever
Anything
that emotion
creative.
is. Yeah,
You know?
right? Like, because then you're confronting it with something creative to outlet that feeling. Cause, or else we'd just be trapped with all these emotions all the time and just be a box ready to explode.
Yes, and expressing emotion is like a necessary thing. A lot of people don't know, and it can lead to having more mental health issues and more issues later in life. Because even expressing yourself isn't always artistic. Like, I played sports all the way through high school. I grew up playing basketball from age of 3. I used to play baseball, football, like all of it. So it's not even all artistic. If you're mad and want to go play basketball, do it. If you're sad and want to go cry, if you want to go do a painting, if you want to just I feel sad, I'm gonna read this book. Like, whatever it is to outlet, an outlet's necessary.
I think we should change the narrative. Instead of like being a creative or talented, skillful person to get money and like notoriety and fame, like, let's just make it an outlet. Let's show people that if you are going through these traumas in your life, like, this is one tool that can help you do that.
Yeah.
But instead we just see it as like, well, not, again, blanket statement, but again, we could see it as just, oh, why are you trying to be a music artist? You trying to get famous? No, fuck, dude. I'm just trying to outlet my feelings.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because of where we grew up, that, like, being in the United States, it's always the notion that it's about making money and making a name for yourself, being successful, or at least to what society deems successful. But I think you're right. Like, if people came at it from that different angle, and I think this kind of resonates with us, with our brand, being that we built our brand on a mission and message first before we built out a product and service and built it out, where other people are like, I'm doing business because I want to make money. I want to be successful. And I think by
flipping the script
on everything, no matter what it is, like, you know, outlet your emotions, outlet who you are as a human, and then find... And maybe it does become something where you're successful and make money from it. Maybe it doesn't, but, like...
That shouldn't be the end goal.
If it doesn't... If it makes your life better and your mental health state better, then you should do it, right? Like Gary Vee says, like, go, like, triple down on it, because it's...
But instead, they're met with all these haters. Like, you look at... Remember high school? Like, the artsy kids, like, what are they doing with their life? Like... come on, man, who cares?
Oh yeah, it was because of the school I went to. It was really weird. So like, the school, my class was 100 kids freshman year. We had like 85 by my senior year. So there's literally less than 400 kids in the school. So the artsy kids, well, there weren't. I didn't say they weren't artsy kids. So because the school was new and it's a technical school, band like wasn't a thing. Like they didn't like get to like fully offer till I was a senior. Chorus wasn't like a full thing. Like,
It's always the first thing to go.
so like, and even like theater and whatnot.
So fucked.
So I went and sought all that stuff out and did it still while balancing being an athlete and whatnot. So it was like weird because I had that issue. Sometimes people go, well, what are you doing? And they're like, well, and I was like, oh yeah, because like literally.
Because you're in your athletics.
So like, yeah, so I would do the summer musicals for the school district. But one year when they were at Corcoran, we had our flag football league right up on Corcoran Fields. I would leave practice to go up there. How were you doing? I was a musical rehearsal. And they looked at me like I'm crazy. I was like, yeah, I do both. I was like, you know what? I'm Black Troy Bolton.
I fuck with that.
But like, why do you have to even explain yourself is the thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. And like, it kind of fueled me to do a bunch, like, to, like, learn how to balance everything and just do it without conviction. And, like, that thing, and doing that without conviction is something my godbrother taught me. Because, like, he's wanted to be a rapper his whole life. And it's not about being rich and famous. He's, like, wants to be paid to rap. Like, I want this to be my job. And he's like, no one can tell you what you are. It's like, I'm only a rapper. I said I was a rapper. And I'm not gonna rap until someone decides to pay me to do it because I like doing it and I want to be paid for it. And
It just sustains the craft, too.
and I do the same thing. Like
Yeah.
my art is the goal is to be paid for my art one day, but that's not why I do it. If I have to have a day job and still perform, cool. Because it's more about doing the art, get better at my art rather than making so much money from my art. If I can sustain life with it, that's dope. If I can't, I'm still gonna do it.
I always hear the saying that when it comes to most things creative, that it's always got to be a labor of love. If you want to sustain the long term with it, you know, like weather the storm, because life sucks. Like life's just never gonna be, you know, like just a straight path to fucking success. So
Oh no, it takes everything in you to be able to take what you're good at, what you like doing, and profit from it. And you have to be willing to put in all the hours and whatnot. Like I call myself the busiest person I know outside of my father. 'Cause like my weeks will go, I'll work 6 days a week at my day job. I'll DJ Wednesday, sometimes through Sunday. I'll still find time to download music, go to an open mic somewhere, go to a show, like, and like still try to have a personal and a love life all in that. And people are, why do you do all that? It's what I want to do. Like, my friend Craig says, if you think you're busy now, wait till you're doing what you want to do in life.
Whoa.
You're going to be busier.
yeah,
That's crazy.
And like, he is a full-time DJ. Like he's been DJing for 10 years now, I think he said. And he's been full-time for 6 years. Like, he DJed at a radio station, had that job. Now, no radio station. He just DJs Albany, New York City, Boston, gets paid to go wherever. He's like literally there'll be days where he'll have to do an event for like City of Albany early in the day, get in a car, drive to Boston, DJ that night, drive to New York City, DJ at brunch that morning, get back to Boston to DJ again that night.
shit.
It's like 80-hour work weeks,
Like,
man.
Bruh, it's crazy. But if you enjoy doing
it's
it,
life.
Yeah.
It's not work anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. I wish there was like a happy medium, though, you know?
Once you hit a certain point, there is like, if you take, who's your favorite artist?
Childish Gambino.
Perfect example. Childish Gambino right now could stop and wouldn't have to do anything else because he's made money from acting, writing, and rapping and comedy.
And he has all that investment of money and
So
piled up.
So the relaxing in the medium happens after you've done all those things. It's funny you said him because me and my friends, we always have a debate. Well, not a debate. We've come to the consensus that he's the most creative mind in like hip hop art. Like he's one of the most creative minds, period, right now because he's balanced all of those things. and then we'll go on to debates with like him or like Kanye or Drake.
I was thinking Tyler the Creator's also up there.
Now, I personally, and I'll say I haven't listened to the more recent stuff. I only heard early Tyler Creator. I wasn't the biggest fan. I got to give it a second try because I was told Igor is like album of the year. I was like, there's been some good albums this year, but I'm gonna go listen to it.
He's got I remember the first time I heard him was Yonkers.
Yeah.
The first time that song ever came out, it was the weirdest sounding thing to me
At the
ever.
awards, remember?
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy winning like the best like new artist or whatever? I was like, I've literally never heard this guy. And as time has gone on, that song has become one of my like favorite songs, and it's still like one of the weirdest songs I know. And it's just like it's so catchy and like.
I think there's something to be said about that. It's just like he created a new genre for himself because he was so out there and he was just being himself.
His music is such a great reflection of the person he is because like I think as a fan, I became a bigger fan and I started to understand it by watching all the Odd Future, like what was the name of their show they had?
Flognog? No.
Oh, Camp
Squad.
Flognog?
No. The actual like the skit show they did.
Loiter Squad.
Loiter Squad. That show alone, I was like, I get it. I know what you're doing. Fucking love it. Keep doing it. And it's like, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
God damn. So
to bring it back to you.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're good.
I'm just curious about this question. Given that you want to do this to like sustain yourself financially, mentally, emotionally, what would you want to be known for after doing this journey? Like if there was one big thing or a little thing, like if you died, what would you want to be known as or for?
Yes.
To be known.
To be known. Exactly, yes. So like the goal in like is
Like the legacy of you.
What did Chance say? Literally, it's on Chance's new album. It's one of my favorite songs, Sun Come Down. Literally, he says, if I said it, I meant it. If I'm dead, it's cemented. So I want to be remembered for whatever it is I did in its most literal form. Like, if I were to go, I would want people to know both that I was hardworking and what I was doing. So if I had to like pick something, I'd pick poetry because that's actually I lied. I would want people to actually remember me as a dancer. For because it's the thing I'm most cringy about sometimes, but for what I've done with it, like, cause I did all the hip hop dance. I've done some lyrical modern stuff. I've taken ballet classes. I've danced on stage for musicals and ragtime and African dance and all that stuff. And I've mostly danced in church and I've taught kids on like state level, hundreds of kids doing real simple moves and whatnot, and seen them go and teach other people. So if I want to be remembered for something, it'd probably be that because directly and indirectly it's affected the most people because I taught a song in August at a youth conference, and to this day I have people messaging me like, "Hey, what was the name of that song? What's the name of the song that you did in August?" I'm like, "Huh, people still remember it, and kids will still remember it." So I'd pick that, and then right second would be poetry because it's written and you can quote it and you can see it.
So.
Wait, before you go into that, I'm sorry to cut you off. This is a very trivial question, but I just want to ask it. If you were to pick an animal that you could be most like, what would you pick?
This is literally the hardest question ever. Like, even when I was asked this when I was in like 4th grade, I hate this exact question. I don't know.
And it kind of plays off of like, who would you want to be known as?
I don't know. So I'm not a big animal person. I don't like animals.
All right, Pokemon.
Oh, you
Yeah,
jerk.
Pokemon, there's so many.
Okay, I won't pick a Pokemon. Okay, if I'd pick one, it'd probably be Ditto, just because I love the fact that you can kind of go into many different avenues and do different things. But it'd be like a normal type Pokemon, because a normal type can learn your fire moves.
Togepi.
Normal type, yes, it can learn your wind. It can learn
just
your
do
walk.
everything.
Yes, so let's go with Togepi, because anything can come from it. You can learn different moves from different things.
So like a chameleon.
Yes.
For
Yes.
pick an actual.
Oh, there you go. Oh, shit.
That's your spirit animal.
I'm gonna put that. You have no idea. That question oddly comes up a lot in your life when you work with kids and do creative things as a combination. It's probably
like a good icebreaker question.
Yeah, when you have an answer. That's
or you're just like awkwardly like, fuck.
You know what?
Droid. No,
iPhone 6.
iPhone 6. We're just
we know the pain. I got one too, baby.
We're just gonna do that later. But yes, I'm actually happy I have an answer for that now. What were you gonna say, sir?
I was just gonna kind of go future minded with the question, and based on all of the kind of a culmination of all the stuff we've talked about so far in this, where do you see yourself going in the next, it doesn't need to be super long, but in the next, 5-10 years, do you have goals in mind? Or do you have a vision of where things are leading?
So my end goal in life, I want to be a Food Network chef.
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah, you're like, wait, how does that all...
You have the personality for it.
Yes.
I feel that.
So I got that. I want to be the Black Bobby Flay. And people were like, well, do you want to be better? I was like, no. I don't want to be better. I want to be Black Bobby Flay.
Wearing a Spider-Man costume.
Bruh.
Or no, Power Ranger.
Yes, wearing a Power Ranger costume.
What color? Sorry, we're just throwing...
So it's adjusted per my friend group, and growing up when I was really little, I was big on Blue Ranger. Blue was my color. Then as I got older, I was like, I'm going to be black. And this is all based off the original Power Rangers. Now, I watch it to this day. I keep up with it just 'cause, like, where people love, like, DC and Marvel and whatnot. Power Rangers is my shit. I can quote it just like someone can quote Iron Man and like, know their comics and whatnot. You could pick a season, and I'll tell you what it was about. I can tell you the names. That's me. If I had to pick a favorite superhero, like DC or Marvel, I pick DC. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
What's the question? I lost the question.
So what color?
Oh yeah, what color Power Rangers? So yeah, it'd be I'd probably stick with blue.
Would you change the tint of blue, or would you keep it to its original?
It'd be a little darker blue. Just because.
More like a royal blue?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, just because.
Well, my thing is like, okay, you could copycat the original or do it, in your own flavor.
Oh no, it would probably be a little darker blue. And I would change the animal, like the dinosaur, from being a Triceratops to being a raptor.
Ooh, okay. Fuck with that. So, you said Food Network.
Yes.
So that's your end goal.
Yes, the end goal, I want to be a Food Network chef, because Bobby Flay was in a movie. It's a Disney original movie, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. Mm-hmm. And Eddie was a baseball player who wanted to go cook, and he had to balance doing all the things. So that's kind of where I got the idea of balancing things from. Before High School Musical too. He did it first. So, but like, there was a series of shows. So, Bobby Flay he's a good dope chef. He went to Japan and was competing on their Iron Chef competition, brought it back here, and was competing against other Iron Chefs here. Then there was a show called, I forget, I think it's called Throwdown with Bobby Flay. There was 2 shows. It happened in 2 shows. The first show was him. They would fake someone's pilot episode for their show. He would go to them and said, I'm going to cook your best thing better than you.
Oh, shit.
And eventually that turned into another show where 2 chefs come to compete. They'll compete each other to compete against him to make their dish better than him, even though it's already your dish and you're noticed best. And half the time he wins. Dude has 3 different shows on the network, has a bunch of different restaurants. His cooking style is Southwestern, so I like all that. So the goal one day is to be a Food Network chef, own some restaurants and whatnot.
Do you cook currently? Have you been working on that craft at all? We haven't really talked about it, but...
Yes, no. So when I went to ITC, I went there as opposed to Nottingham High School because technical school. So I took food service 3 years. When I was in school at OCC for a semester, I was majoring in food service. I still do work with certain chefs and whatnot. And when I had time before my job made me full time, I had restaurant jobs. And to this day, I'll cook at home. And if I'm seeing someone, I will cook for them as well. Because one, it's the cheat code to beat all cheat codes. Buy flowers? No. Make her chicken wings.
Hey.
Cook breakfast and wake up and cook breakfast in the morning. It is the cheat code. Food is the key to a woman's heart. But you cooking food makes her heart yours. That's the trick. So I have been getting better at it and been getting back more into it. And how all the other stuff connects to it is because when you have your restaurants, you have to have a theme. You have to have a vibe, a feeling. And if you can incorporate different things, it makes your restaurants unique. So when I have my first restaurant, I want it to double as a space I can have performances. It can have an open mic. No, you're not calling me. No, you're not. Nope, call someone else. Don't do it.
Place you can DJ at.
Yes, a place I can have a DJ and do all those things.
Damn, that's cool.
Okay, so that's your end goal.
So that's the end goal. In the next couple years, my goal is to make my art sustainable. So in the buying enough DJ equipment to be able to just to be able to go do so many weddings that I don't need to have a day job to be able to perform.
So you feel that, like you said, DJing is it has thus far been the biggest moneymaker. So would you would use that kind of as your cash cow?
Yes.
And then be able to focus on all the other things around it?
Yes, because it's easy to do the other things pending where DJ takes you. So like DJs can get hired to go to Dallas. While I'm in Dallas, I might like Dallas. I'll stay in Dallas. I'll find a residency. I can take pictures in Dallas. I can do poetry there. And as an actor, you can audition anywhere, because everywhere there's theater somewhere.
Yeah, nowadays it's not just one thing. You have to be jack of all trades. Multifaceted, yeah. And it's not like you can say, oh, I want to be a poet and expect to make a sustainable, financially sustain off of that, because it's also like you're competing with other poets and also the market too. If the market's not like, I don't fuck with poetry, I'm sorry, dude, then you're not gonna get paid.
Oh yeah, like the market for poetry. You know what? I'm gonna do this on video. Yes, ma'am. How can I help you? Perks of being the full-time manager is that full-time means when the store is open, you're at work, even when you're not at work. It's the best worst thing about salary.
Do you want to air it out a little?
Yeah. So
You okay? You need water or anything?
Oh no, I'm fine. It's been a thing my entire life. My dad's a really sweaty person, and like I would like sweat after like my third layup in a layup line in basketball. So it's just a thing.
he reminds me of Drew. Just like
yeah.
My brother, he sweats the second he starts eating any food.
Bro, like, so my friends call me Pastor KJ sometimes as a joke because I'm super religious. I find a way to mix it into everything I do. I even bring it up while we're in the booth or at a party. Like we're just like in conversation, I'll reference the Bible, or if I'm trying to give my friend motivation, I'll combine a biblical story with a superhero story, and they're like, "You jerk." Like, you're welcome now. And the Bible helped you. Ha ha. But like, even when
so Christian? Okay.
Yes.
Born again? No.
No, Baptist.
Okay.
Baptized. Been there my whole life. Father's a deacon. Mother was a Sunday school teacher. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm church all year round. Heck, my family's going to Buffalo next week for the big church convention. My dad's head of security, so he'll be there all week. My mom's on staff, they'll be there all week. I'm going up on Thursday, so we're super church people, while also being balanced, because like my dad's been doing security since before I was born, and so he does like anything at he works for Westcott Events, like anything. He has a day job too, but like that's at the amphitheater. He's there, and like generally he's one of the guys in front of the stage. It's like when Cardi B was there.
Oh, does he work for like Live Nation?
He doesn't work for Live Nation. He works for Westcott Events. So Westcott Events isn't. Yes, they do for the amphitheater, Landmark Theater, On Center, Civic Center. They're like everywhere, and it's called Westcott Events because the owner lived on Westcott. Got it. And they even do stuff at the Westcott.
Nice.
So there, and my mother's like a wedding planner and event planner. So I have always had the balance of, yeah, you can turn up, but you still got to show up for church and know this and know that. So there's a cool balance.
And they're probably busy people, so they're like, you got to make time for Jesus.
It was in having religion and like believing God and like Bible and everything has helped me a lot. Especially like when I moved to Buffalo to work at that store, I didn't have time to go because that store was only open from 10 to 7, and when you're full time, you have to work 8 hours on a weekend. So I would church would start at 11, but I'd be work from 11 to 7, so I couldn't go. Now my boss is cool, and I've learned how to finagle the schedule, so I can go now. But even when I can't go, I find a balance. So like every week I'll post a status. So because I'm at Billy B's every Sunday, I'll call it Billy B's Baptist Church. And my friends and coworkers be dying. I was like, no, Billy B's Baptist Church. I serve as a pastor. And like every week and it started off kind of as a joke, but it actually helps me. So whatever the theme of my week has been, so if it's been stress, if it's been rest, if it's been courage, whatever, I'll find a Bible verse and like something to say about it. And I'll post it, but like from the desk of the pastor at Billy B's Baptist Church, and tag my store like, yep, I'm at work, but still at church. And like where it's just like a comedian, where it's funny, there's a serious tone to it because it's an actual Bible verse with an actual thought that makes sense that you can apply to your life.
So that's awesome.
What's your favorite verse?
There's a lot. There's a lot of verses.
Only 10 million.
So I don't know the exact verse, but because it's actually one of the shortest Bible verses. It's Jesus wept.
Wept?
Jesus wept. Like he was crying. Like Jesus wept. That like it's one of the jokes when I was a kid is like that would be like one of my cousins and friends at church, Serena, she always like when someone have to do a Bible verse, Jesus wept. And then she'll go, why was he weeping? No one will know. But that was the verse. You asked for a scripture, I gave you one.
Jesus wept.
But in it, I like one day research. I was like, oh wow, and you just learn more about it. So if I had to pick a favorite, it'd be that one, just because it has the funniest story. And I can't quote the verse. I'm more focused on stories in the Bible. So like, there's a story of Jesus going with his family to like their version of like their state fair or whatever, basically, or going away. And they do it every year. While they're away, Jesus got separated from them. But Joseph assumed, like, oh, he's fine. He'll be fine. And thought it was with the big Packer group because they're walking, because this is way back when. Realized, like, 3 days later, oh, wait, he's not with us. Let's go find him. He was in the temple and learning about God and everything. And that was the first time in the Bible Jesus was like, oh, I'm more than just this random 13-year-old. I'm like that dude.
I like, remember this story, yeah.
There's more to it, and in the end of the book says, like, he grew in stature and size and in faith. Then the next chapter, he's 35.
Yeah.
So like
it's just like a flashback.
So like he literally goes from like 12 to 30. So my favorite like part of the Bible is that, because it shows that like there's a missing piece right there. And all my curiosity in Christianity is like, what was Jesus doing between 13 and 30? What? And if you look at it, that's where a lot of people figure out life. That's where a lot of people get their life together, figure out their plan, have kids, get married. Like, that's where a lot of that stuff happens.
What was he doing?
Exactly.
That's like the
world may never
years.
know.
That's how you learn about life.
Exactly. So you're modeling you model yourself after Jesus as a child or as an adult. What about the middle part? So that's my favorite part of the Bible. It literally just brings up so many questions that nobody can answer factually or
right, because
in the book.
There's nothing recorded.
So you can assume, you can speculate, you can teach, you can pull from other things and stories, and you can put it together. And that's the fun part in church for me, because when you work with youth and young adults, that's where I pull from and create.
Creativity, yeah. When did Jesus die?
When?
Like his
I guess not when.
Or
yeah.
how old was he?
He?
He was in his 30s.
Yeah.
33, 35. Okay. Somewhere in there.
I always thought he was younger, like 25.
I mean, 30 is still pretty young.
Oh yeah. No, it was, and I know someone I went to church with, or my mother, or son. Someone's gonna see this and be mad at me that I've not been able to quote this correctly, and I'm sorry. Okay, it's been a while.
Happens.
Okay, at the Billy B's Baptist Church, we're focused on relationship.
Oh, that's good. So, shit, we're at like 2 hours, 10 minutes. Going Joe Rogan style out
For
here.
real.
So I'm gonna ask you guys some questions.
Yeah.
So, do you guys listen to other podcasts?
Joe Rogan.
Any
Listen, I listen to Short Story Long, Group Chat, the Gary V audio experience. What's the one with the Quest dude?
Oh, Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory.
Yeah, that one's a pretty good one. I don't listen to it like all the time, and I listen to like sports podcasts like Barstool and all that.
Okay. I'm new to listening to podcasts. Well, it's been about a year or so now. The Joe Budden podcast is like, that's my ish. Like my friend cracked a joke from it one time and I was like, huh, what is this? Joe Budden wasn't even a good rapper. I didn't like him. As a person though, he's hilarious and very honest.
Oh, you mean Joe Rogan?
No.
Joe Biden?
Joe Budden. He's a rapper.
Sorry, all right, now I get it.
If Joe Biden had a podcast, I'd listen to Uncle Joe too. But Joe Budden podcast, that's dope. And just him and his friends are just literally talking and bullshitting for like 2 hours. Sometimes it's really dope. There's a podcast, Righteous Ratchet. It's a comedian Kev on Stage and Doughboy, and they're also friends. And they're just talking and bullshitting most of the time. And then a comedian Gary Owens. He's like, I think it's called like Get You Some Podcast. So that's kind of cool too. If you could describe yourself in 3 artists.
Into 3 artists.
Like you got 3 artists to describe you.
Shit. I've never even thought of that. Yeah, you go while I think.
Ben Howard. Are you familiar with him? He's like a moody folk indie kind of guy.
Okay.
Milky Chance, Glass Animals.
Okay.
Are you familiar with them?
Nope.
These are a lot of like indie bands. I would describe myself in the genre of indie.
Okay, that's fair.
If we're going hip hop, which genre of music?
Any genre, like it.
Any genre.
So like me, if I had to pick 3, it'd be like Neo. Both in his songwriting ability, how he carries himself. He's a gentleman. He's dressed to the nines, everything. Common, because whenever he's rapping, he's a poet. So when he's rapping, even in the songs, the beat's there. You don't pay attention to it, but it's there. And what was the third one? I can't think of the third one. So right now, to other artists, I'll say is like T.I., because he's a businessman. Like he's real about his stuff. But
all facets of you.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. What's relatable to me? I like Tyler. I like Childish. I like any of the hip hop artists that are doing their own thing.
He was a third one.
Danny Brown.
Ooh, I like him.
Yeah.
I like him.
He's original.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty out there.
Oh yeah, I've been like, because before I wasn't big until I became a DJ. I wasn't big on new music, just because I just like what I like. But now having to listen to more music, I found so much more music. Like, Anderson .Paak is a dope, weird artist. Like YB and Cordae is like a mix of like Chance the Rapper and like Wale and Childish Gambino had a baby and it's him.
I'm struggling hard over here. I got one main one that I really think about. It's like a really mild Jim Carrey.
I like it.
Because like I don't know if anyone can ever be that extra.
No one can be Jim Carrey.
So that's one. That's
not a music artist though.
I thought you just said artist in general.
I'll take it because he's been having some issues over here. I'll take it.
I'm just like,
and that's how I feel about the animal question. that right there.
This will unlock a different part of you, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we gotta go music. Okay, music.
What kind of music resonates best with you?
All right, like Lord Huron is like my favorite band of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I had to just get some names in my head, start churning, because my mind's been like all about in your life and everything. All right, three like musician artists that fit me. Lord Huron, because and I'll give some preface behind them. Lord Huron, because all of their songs are like tales, and all of their albums are concept albums that are telling one set story about, like, it's usually like a love story, but it's also like about traveling, and it fits a lot into my life and kind of like what we're doing with our brand. So that's why I really resonate with that. My like funny like extra side of myself, kind of where that Jim Carrey thing came from. So Jim Carrey would be my one actor. Is Mark Reble. It's hard to I forget how to...
Bublé?
No. So he's known as like the loop daddy. He's we can show you him after, but he makes like the most ridiculous loop songs I've ever heard. And like, it's not even like a DJ that has pre-recorded songs and then they go up and DJ it like on the fly. He literally makes the song from scratch live with people, and it's the most impressive thing. Just alone making the song, but then he fucking his singing and like the antics and the talking. He like is acting and singing and doing all this like extra shit while the song's like a banger, and it's just so me. Like, it's so wacky and weird, and like people at my work, literally one of my friends was like, yo, I think you might like this guy, and he showed me, and I was like, oh bro, I've been listening to this guy for years. Like, this, I like found this guy when he was still on Facebook and no one knew who he was. He was playing like Dallas bars and shit, wow. And now he's got like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and he's got tons of listeners. But I mean, he's got one where literally the verse is, Kris Kringle, the pimp man, suck that dick. Like, it's just so fucking like out of left field, and it's the best. So that's my like wild side. And then I'm a sucker for like dance music, and like I love partying, and like not like the drinking part, but just like the atmosphere of like everyone just fucking like free spirited, like going wild. Zed's Dead is like my go-to favorite like electronic artist, and I think it was just a concert I went to. I like fell for this girl that I was interested at the time, and it kind of like gave me the motivation to actually like make a move on her, like not in a sexual way, but like I like solidified in my head. I was like, okay, like we're moving forward on this. And it was just, I mean, she was there, but it was just like going to that show. I've always listened to them in a different light ever since. But like, yeah, those are my three. I had to explain them because I couldn't think of them off the top of my head.
No, listen, it works. I saw that randomly as a meme on Facebook, and I was like, huh. And it just helped, because knowing how to characterize yourself helps you as an artist. Like, knowing your vibe and your lane helps you also know where to market yourself and whatnot.
100%.
Because like, I don't throw in the face of everywhere I go. Like, now I've gotten better at it. But like, when I started DJing, I wasn't like, even now when I promote, if I'm like have to go to like a church conference all week, I can't promote this party all week because I don't have that audience right now. If we have a party coming up, like I announced the Slam a couple weeks ago. Last week I didn't post it much because we had a party. So I'm like, I have to market this. I can't market everything at once. You got to know how to balance that.
Yeah, we're going into a day and age where like you as an artist or you as a creative is your entire brand around that. So you have to know all these different facets of making a brand, whether it's marketing, outreach, podcasting, making a product like music, art, graphic design, advertising, network. Like, it all plays into it as like, and it's like, it's a business, it's a creative endeavor, it's all of it all at once. So it's just interesting, you know. Everyone's going about it a different way, angling it different way, and that's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. You have to unlock that self-awareness to know what it is that you want to market and brand yourself to the people.
And like, a good part of doing all that is like surrounding yourself with other people who know how to do that. Like, I was doing like in planning for the Poetry Slam, I was like looking for a DJ, and I was like, stupid, why are you looking for a DJ?
You are a DJ.
Hey, no, not even me. The DJ I work with, DJ Phantom. I was like, hey,
Oh, but you knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Knew.
Yeah. So literally, I was like, when I first played, I was like, I'm gonna get a DJ. I'm gonna get someone. My mom was like, you work with Taryn. Tell Taryn he's DJing. And I was like,
True.
oh, you're right. It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, huh, she gets someone to host. She's like, host. Just do it. It's yours. It's named after you. And I was like, it is named after me. So it's just like, and even with that, like, I'm gonna like have merchandise by the time the slam comes to sell and market myself. I was looking for people, and I have like 3 different people I can go get shirts from.
Drew Shoot. Print Hub.
Do you know, Drew? Ooh, good person to know.
But that's what, at the end of the day, it's about the network, man.
Yes.
It's about, like, knowing what your skill set is and what you can offer to the community, and then knowing the community and what they have to offer, and then how we can play all together in this in a team to work together to rise above.
I know we hit on your podcast in the beginning, but what exactly is the premise of the podcast?
So that's what we're still working on. So it's still in development. Like, we've been doing it for a couple months now, I think. Once again, because I work so much, I'm there. I've been like 3 times or so. The premise was calling it the PC podcast is that everyone has to be so politically correct in society that we're gonna call it that, but we're not that in any way. Well, I try to be that, and it's really funny because I contrasted everyone because I'm very grammatically correct when texting, when speaking. I'm very politically correct, like, all the time. Even like, it's like, you know, people get like cancel culture. People get canceled for something they did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Not me, because I've been so cautious with most things I post on all social media.
Gonna pull shit on you.
You can try. I'll be able to get out. Nope. Because I don't like one of the comedians, Kevin on stage of the podcast I listen to, his thing is like, if y'all gonna cancel me, do it now before I'm famous.
Hey.
Like find whatever it is now. So my thing is, from the jump of me having social media, you're not gonna find it, but maybe the random shirtless picture when I had abs. But please find that to show the world that. So that's cool. So in all that, the podcast is really just us not fearing being PC and being canceled and stuff like that, and just talking freely, toxically, but genuinely.
That's
Do you
like
have, like-
contradictory.
Exactly.
Do you have topic areas you guys bring to the table for a show?
There are, generally my friend Tyler, he comes up with all the topics for most him and Nelson come up with topics for everything, but generally there might be a random topic in there.
Yeah.
And we've all and there's like 8 of us. So like we're never all there together. So like everyone gets like a specific, like I pick like if there's like a sports topic, if there's an artistic topic, I'm gonna jump in. But other things, it's like I'm gonna just
Stay in your lane.
just don't involve me. And like even or a topic people will be like afraid to do, like I'm talking to somebody right now, but like there was a episode where they wanted to like the girls that were there, we were talking about Tinder and like how you can improve or not improve like a guy's profile, and no one wanted to volunteer, and I was like, re-downloads Tinder. Here you go. And like
Beef it up.
well, and it's like, just because like, so as a guy, like guys suck at taking pictures. Just naturally we are trash. I'm a photographer. Pictures of me are trash. It's horrible. So like sometimes like learning what pictures should go first. So you might think this selfie of you was cool, and girls would be like, ew, you look short. Why is your face like that? And go to the next picture and be like, why wasn't this one first? You know what? I don't like you. You're gone. And like things like what your bio
That's
should
the
look
culture.
like, and just like stuff like that. So I'm not afraid to like go in certain topics to do it, and none of them are really afraid to go in topics. But I'll volunteer first if I'm there, which I will try to be there next time. Well, and it's like learning how, because I've always wanted to do a podcast. Like do my own and try to figure it out, but I've not known how. I don't know anything about sound or any of it. So doing this with them has taught me how to do such a thing. So at some point I might have my own podcast maybe one day, because I can see that that's where the trend is going.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And I like it. It's dope because we've been talking for like 2 hours. It hasn't felt like that. So like
Right,
I like
yeah.
talking. So doing a podcast is all about just being able to talk for a couple hours, even if it's like 30 minutes or so. Just being able to expound on whatever you're thinking about.
Yeah, for me, I'll speak for me, and I'll let Kyle reflect on the whole podcasting thing. For me, It started from actually my interest in doing a podcast started from a radio class I took in college because I was a dual major in business and communications, and in the communications I was trying to get in more on the creative side of things, and took a radio class, and our final project was we had to make a podcast episode and then present it to the class. Podcast episode itself was pretty shit because I didn't get to pick my group, so it was kind of like I ended up doing all the work and all this because I was the only one who actually gave a shit about it. But besides the point, it was like doing that first one, I was like, I could do this on my own. And then Kyle and I were just like in a car on the way back from like a trip to Philadelphia to see a show, and we did a video podcast to start where we just talked to the camera for a while, and then we're like, we could probably just do this recording ourselves and not like do the video for now because we didn't figure it out. But it was the stimulating conversation on a consistent basis that has become like a cornerstone of my life, where I like live for that. And between this episode and the one we did before, I wouldn't say it's a little less than a month, but it's been a little gap. We've been working on other stuff, but it was like I've like started to like long for just a nice podcast episode. I was like, I'm kind of ready for it now, you know? It's kind of like you going up on stage to perform.
Yes.
That feeling, that's how I feel in a podcast, like in my zone, in my element kind of thing.
It's funny, I haven't actually performed like a poem on stage in... It's been a little while. It's been a couple months, actually.
Are you going to perform at your event?
Yes.
When is it?
Sorry, the yes was a question mark because I was actually, I didn't know. So like the goal was to not perform, but then I feel like I can't not perform at my own show. Even though I'm not competing, I feel like I got to do something. But
it could be like at like the award shows for like the Emmys, Grammys, the MC or host always like does some type of skits and stuff. So you could.
Oh yeah,
be interjecting the whole time.
Oh yeah, like hosting is the biggest part that actually connects to the Food Network part. So like I've always wanted to be a host, like Ryan Seacrest, Steve Harvey, Nick Cannon. Like those are like dope hosts who balance not being annoying and like putting on a good show within a show. Like Terry Crews now, like those guys are like just they know how to host, and hosting is its own art form and skill outside of all the other things because some hosts can be annoying, some can not. So I am gonna probably do a poem. The slam is November 16th at Salt Space Theater. And the Salt Space Theater, have you guys ever been there? It's a black box theater, but it's so dope because it's literally it's blank. So they have their own light setup, sound setup, and everything, so that you can go in and create
whatever it is,
whatever vibe you want. So I can set the lights to be purple and blue and
that's cool.
Do all that if I want to, like per person on the show. There's spotlights. The DJ can set up top where the lights are, or he can set up on stage, which he'll be because you should always see your DJ. DJs need more love.
True. I like that.
So, November 16th, a Confused Poetry Slam. For any information, The Confused Poet at everything. And the is important. The Confused Poet. Like, it's... And why is there a the? I actually wrote a poem my senior year about the that I've lost and can't find and can't figure out how to write again. But the is like, it's a title. It's a starting point. It's a...
Like a staple.
Yes.
The
confused. Yes.
Not just the one. You're not describing it. You're saying it is the.
Yes.
The one and only kind of thing.
So that was actually my first breakdancer name, the one and only. and the oxymoron in it, or the joke in it, is that I'm named after my dad. So I'm not the one and only. There's another one. But like so.
Are you a junior?
No, we have different middle names.
Oh,
but
got it.
No one cares. Not even my passport, because my passport says Kyle Neil Tape Jr. But we have different middle names. Yeah. But my friends call me KJ, so they think.
I was gonna ask where the J came from.
Honestly, I wanted to be called KJ. So most of my nicknames are self-given. It's I just I like this name. You're gonna call me this, and my friends respect me enough to just go with it. So they're like, all right, KJ. And it's funny, I've had that nickname for so long, like 2014, that I even have some people who don't know my actual name. Like a lot of the like bouncers and bartenders at the bar I work at now, for my birthday we went up there and drank and hung out and everything. My dad shows up, was like, I'm here to see Kyle, and the doorman was like, who the fuck is Kyle? He's like, KJ. Oh, KJ's right over here. It's like there's like a whole realm of people that both don't know my real name is Kyle and still think the tape in my name is fake. Like I had someone inbox me like 2 weeks ago, like, is your last name really Tape? Like why would someone fake that name? That's not no, I wouldn't want to like. I didn't.
Yeah, right. Like why would you?
Like I love my family, I love my name, and I love my people. No one wants to ask for the last name Tape. Like you're just asking for people to fuck with you. Okay? And having last name Tape, you grow some thick skin and know how to crack jokes on people. So it's a gift, but you wouldn't like ask for that to be your name.
Right.
So like I feel bad at some point for the person I marry. It's like you got to accept that. You have like your last name is like Johnson or Smith.
Right.
You're going from Smith to Tape. Good luck.
At least it's unique.
Oh yeah, you can like, and it's funny because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, your last name's Johnson. I know this person last name Johnson. You related?" I could say with a fact, if you find someone else last name Tape, yes, that's my cousin. And like I actually went to school with one of my family members. She was a freshman when I was a junior, so she got there last name Tape, and all teachers, oh my God, you guys related? Who else do you know last name Tape? Or like a cousin of mine played for SAS. I played for ITC. So, oh my God, it's your cousin. Yes, it's Tape. Like you can't not like. There's some things you can't just fake. Like O'Neal, my middle name is another family name. It's like the running joke is I tell my friends I'm related to Shaq, which I think I am related to Shaq. Okay, it's not I'm related. We're cousins. But that's more of a popular name that can be twisted. If your last name's Tape, we family. Welcome to the family.
True.
Shout out to the Tape family.
Shout out to the Tape family because we blood, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
One thing I want to kind of delve down, this is just like the human psychology, like behavioralist in me, but I try to understand like why people do what they do, and motivation is a big part of that, and just through like psychological theory, a lot of that comes down to what your values are as a human, and the reason why you do the things that you do might lie in what your human values are, or things that you find important to you, things that you can't live without. So just delving down that path, what are some of those things to you personally that you find utmost priority or value, or things that all this stuff that you're working towards, why you're doing it at the end of the day?
You do everything I do everything mostly for the love of it. Like, even if, like, in my day job, I'm not there because I just need a paycheck. I'm actually at my job, and I've been there for so long because of all the other stuff I do. I could quit, and I could survive. I wouldn't be able to live. So like I keep my job because I like my job. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being around the kids and being able to impact them a little bit. So I do things for the love of it.
What about it do you love? Well, you kind of hit on it, but
I like that. I like it's easy. It's not too taxing. Like it's more taxing now because I'm there more. But like when I was part-time, I'm literally going in, cash people out, or I'm in the back, and I get to go home. And sometimes you learn how to make the most from small interactions. So like you'll be there for 5 hours, and like on a Saturday you'll see in that 5 hours 400 different people.
Damn, that's perspective.
How can you affect 400 people? How can you affect 5 people? How can you affect this 5-year-old who's gonna see you for 5 seconds while they're waiting on a trampoline?
Yeah.
How can you help teach this kid, don't run up the slide, you should not put yourself in danger? Like, it's little things like that. Because like I'm big on respect for my parents. Like, me and my parents have like the dopest relationship I know of between anybody and their parents. Like, I talk to my mom and dad at some point every day. Like, I've been late for work because I've been talking to my mom, and she'd be like, you know what, I'm just gonna give you a ride, come on, let's go. So, like, when kids will come in and, like, I'm not listening or, like, act bad, I'm like, cool, you can't go into Billy Beast. Let's go, Mom, we're going inside. Kids will cry and whatnot. I was like, are you gonna listen to your mom? Cool, you can go inside now. It's like, I've learned that I like working with kids or around kids or, some way, shape, or form and affecting them in a non-typical way. Because everyone could be like, I'm a mentor, I'm going to help kids. Not do all that.
He's like an entertainer.
Yes, I'm going to be me and I'll be me and somehow I can give you something. And if you take that, it'll help you in life. If you don't, I still met you and tried.
Yeah.
But without trying, basically.
I like the fact that you kind of like, you're not striving for like being that performer that's performing to thousands of people, but you like find value in just like the little moments, the day to day, and trying to make the most of those little moments instead of trying to stretch yourself too far and like the big picture of like what it could be.
Oh yeah, because anybody who's successful, it didn't happen quickly, and if it does happen quickly, it's not sustained. Like people go, who's a good example? Drake, example. Before Drake released his mixtape in 2009, 2010, it was big, got signed to Young Money, did all that. Drake was on Degrassi, which premiered like 16 years ago today. Time hop. He was on Degrassi. He's an actor. He's a child actor acting in a Canadian TV show for years. And I'm assuming while he was doing that, he knew I want to be a rapper. But while doing this thing, he's like, I'm enjoying my show. This show ended up growing to be something iconic. I'm on this little show, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to get better over time. And then by the time he was done with the show, went to the next stage. So you have to use what you're given to build what you want to be ready for. So like in DJing for the college bar that won't promote you, and just not because the bar doesn't like you, but college bars generally are just about the bar itself, because whether you're playing from the aux cord or have a live DJ or playing from jukebox, you want the atmosphere of the bar to be there. So being able to play, even though most of the kids won't know who you are, the 10 that might follow you on Instagram are worth it, and that's where you get those gigs later. Or that person will be like, what DJ did I like when I was at SU? I'm getting married now. I need a DJ. Boom. So you play the long game rather than the short game. And you just got to find enjoyment of it. And because I'm realistic to a point where I know I might not become some big, huge DJ one day. That's okay. If it happens, it's dope. I want it to happen. But you also have to maintain some realism. It might not. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it.
That hits home a lot with we just talking about our mission and vision, and we realized that if you're playing the short game, your career is going to be the short game because you're not going to end up doing whatever that thing is if you're not in it for the eating shit part of it.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be like you're right now eating caviar in your mind.
Oh yeah, and it's all about a mentality. You're as successful as you think you are and as you want to be. True. Because some people define success as you're playing this big EDM show for an hour-long set, but is anybody going to remember you? But if I play to this 500-person, 200-person club or this 20-person party, they're gonna
wins.
They're gonna remember me, and I'm gonna get booked more later. Is it better to be bigger and book less, or booked more with less people?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's a weird
arbitrary.
Balance. Yeah, and then it's just always, and you always gotta know how to market yourself. Like I tell my friends who are doing stuff, you gotta at some point brand yourself. Like that's why I have my logo on the back of my phone. Like that's why I'm working on getting my merch. And you guys have stickers. I need to know where you got stickers because I want stickers.
Sticker Mule.
They have the best stickers.
Good to know.
Hands down.
But
if you need business cards, Moo. Best shit ever.
Oh yeah, and you guys got your shirts and hats and hoodies. Like you guys have the concept of we're starting here, but we know where we want to go.
Oh yeah.
And you have it already, and that's where you got to build from. It's your goal, you know where you're going. Like whenever I talk to the youth of my church or anybody I'm around who's I know is going to school, I don't ask you what your major is. I don't ask you how you do in school. It's more, what's the goal? Well, I'm majoring in marine biology. No. What's the goal? What do you want to do with it? Because a lot of people go to school and get a degree and then never use it or have trouble using it. Because if you work toward the education, then you're just you're really smart, but broke. But if you know what you want to do, you'll be you'll have a good job, you'll be happy because you get to use what you earned.
So, sorry, I just had this thought because of a conversation we had yesterday. So this is just also going to be a plug for our other show that we're doing now. It's a resurface of our original name, which is Bindle Boys, but now we're doing reaction videos to like entrepreneurs and like motivational speakers and like all these things. But we did one. It was a Jeff Bezos video of like motivational speech like things. Then they compiled it together. But I was talking about the notion of finding ways in our education system to get kids thinking about this stuff at a young age. And I was thinking that maybe the notion, like, I think knowing like what you want to do is definitely important, but I think the real question is, who do you want to be before what do you want to do? And I don't think that question's asked enough.
Oh no.
People are always like, oh, you want to be you want to do like doing the police officer job, doing the firefighter, but who do you actually want to be with that?
I had a unique perspective because I went to a technical school. So like they're literal, like 8th grade I saw the best PowerPoint of my life. It convinced me to switch up, go be a chef, not go to the high school with all my friends. Best PowerPoint ever. To go to that school. And their whole thing was like, by the time you're a junior and you'll have all of your high school credits done. You'll be able to take classes at OCC. You'll be able to be in your tech focus area to help you with life so you can be prepared for both college and the real world. Did all that happen for me? No, because they were still figuring all the kinks out. Now they got the system working. It's a great school. It's a great program and how they do everything. But the idea of the school is to have you ready for either college if you want to go or society if you just want to go get a job now. And that's the realism in it. Is a lot of people who like, there's like, I've had a debate with some of my friends because they'll go, I went to school so I can get a job. And I'm like, I got a job so I can get a job. Do you go to school for 4 years to prepare to get a job that you'll still have to start off at base level? Or do you go get a lower job so that you can have the experience to get a better job?
Nowadays, a lot of these liberal arts degrees are getting you jobs that are making minimum wage.
Yes.
And the same that you would get if you... A lot less,
so
actually,
now you're
if you
in
went
debt.
to trade school.
And you have a shitty job. So, like, then you're just stuck in, like, a revolving door.
So, like, that's why I'm happy I went to that school, is because we got the different perspective than not just go to school, go to college, get a job. It's like, nah, like, you don't want to go, you can fix cars now. Or you can go work in the kitchen. Here.
You can weld.
Yeah, literally. So, like, it's stuff like that, and, like, the school district kind of took that, too. And, like, now they have that in more schools. So, like, each school has different focus areas for real-life jobs so that you can decide whether I'm going to do this or do that. Because a lot of people, like, once you finish school, people think you're supposed to be ready for the world. You're not.
Hell no.
And even college,
starting.
and even college as a thing doesn't prepare you for the world. The classes you take in college don't prepare you for the world. You going to college and surviving by yourself prepares you for the world.
Yeah.
So if you can get that college experience without being in college, you kind of find a middle ground. That's what I did. Like, my best friend, she's been to SU since we graduated high school. She's getting her master's degree now. I've been with her every step of the way. I've moved away, come back, and like she has a plan, has a job plan and everything. So she's done it and has had a balance. But like, I've gotten that experience of living on my own, being away from home, moving back home, living with my parents, going to and from, like, doing the same kind of thing she's doing, just not there. So, like, seeing the parallels in it is dope and knowing how to balance it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just, like, different types of growing. Like, you could go to school and, like, grow academically or, like, in the way you, like, do your research. But, like, for you, you might have gotten more resourceful and, like, how you go about your activities with your day.
I noticed that a lot because I was in the honors college at UAlbany, and there was, like, there was, like, a split. There was, like, the super heavy academic people who never went out, never did anything, and they literally lived on campus the entire 4 years they were there. And then there was the other half that we still like did our shit in school, but we went out and had fun, and we went out and got ourselves into trouble.
You
and
said
like,
you went to U Albany?
Oh yeah.
That's all you had to say. U Albany has one of
I
the
survived U Albany.
U Albany has one of the best homecomings in the country. I don't care what anyone says. I went there I think it was 2014, 2015. Bobby Shmurda was there for homecoming.
Yeah. Yep.
I was there. One of the DJs, DJ TGIF, that's who I work with for Hype Life.
Oh, nice.
So I went there for Bobby Shmurda and the twerk team. It was packed in the Washington Armory. I went there for
that was like one of the last shows at the Armory.
The last one I went to there was, I think it was the year after. Young Thug was there with OT Genesis. Yeah, also Young Thug's a jerk. He was a jerk that day because he didn't like stay to take pictures with anybody. He like was in the car, got up, did his performance. It was like, all right, I'm out, and then left. But like U Albany is lit, so you went to a great school.
It was. I mean, it had its. I think just like anywhere, it had pros and cons for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, like it is my truth, so I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wish I went somewhere else and could have been something else. But like it is. I mean, I'm where I want to be right now. Like, I think I'm on the path to going where I want to be. So I have to at least thank that experience. But I think what I was getting at is that the people who did all the academics so hard and never like gave themselves a chance to like let loose from that and go out and do stuff. I just feel like a lot of them are like gonna be stuck on just the I'm gonna always work for someone path.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't find that true passion that they can live to do, and whether it's they become famous from it or not, but it's always like their passion is to find a way to fuel that passion in any way. Where a lot of people I know like we're very technical in the sciences and stuff, so they're just in a lab all the time now. You may be passionate about that, but I don't know. I just think it's very different for the people who went out and just fucking get in the thick of it.
I think school should teach us that we have the opportunity to work for ourselves, to be an entrepreneur, to be a creative, to do do our thing, you know? And I think our education system isn't wired to be that way. It's just like you are a cog in a machine.
Yes.
Pick your craft, go to school for it, and then come out work for someone else.
Do it until you die.
Oh yeah, and like the trick in it is I've learned because I've lived life and like even I've been good at my job because I've learned how to navigate our system as like a company. There's the way they do it, and then there's the way Kyle has figured it out. And if you find a balance between that, you'll be successful. And that's why I've been there for almost 5 years. But I've figured that out in school because school is built for that, and it's built to teach you the subjects and that won't apply to you later in life, but you know them. The trick I've found in it is that that's where those outside of school things come in handy. Your after school activities, and mostly your parents. Because your parents are your guidance, are like your guidance counselors. They're your guidance system. So they'll show you how to use this or where to go and whatnot. Like my mom is my manager, like my business manager. Like I don't call her momager. She's my manager. Like she makes 10% of what I make. She's paid. So like I talk to her every day about how we can do this. Like any conversation with her goes from, I like theater. I love going to shows. She'll go, let's put on a production of Dreamgirls at the place. We can do this, and like she'll figure out how you to actually do most things. And most of the time, I will say I'll probably get annoyed because I'm just like I just want to go see a show sometimes. But having that mind and having that thought process of we can figure it out. And my dad is just the most supportive dude I've ever met because his kids' passions don't always line up with what he did. He was a college football player. He loves history, and everything. And like what we do, and like my brother is a background singer in like most gospel groups in the city and all over. I do poetry and whatnot. My little sister was doing cross country and plays. And now my little sister plays the viola. It's probably the most annoying instrument I've ever heard. Now, I was a percussionist. I have drumsticks. I banged on everything. I played the xylophone, the timpani drum, the cymbals, anything in the back of a band room. That was me. My brother played the trombone. Caitlin played the flute. So we all had annoying instruments. The viola. And it was funny.
Strikes a chord.
Bruh.
Hey.
I see what you did there. And it's funny, literally, so as I'm getting ready to leave to catch my Uber down here, that's why I was actually late, because I had to run home and change. I was about to order the Uber, and they pulled up in the driveway. And, like, she walks in the house, "Hi, Kale. I got 3 things to say," which really means 6. And it's all about her viola. And, like, my parents look at me to be the most excited person ever. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear her viola. Why does she have the bow? Oh, God, she's going to... And then, like, literally, as I'm trying to walk out the door, she starts playing, so my mom stops, listens to her play for, like, 2 minutes. And I'm like, you overly supportive people, stop supporting her and support me on the way to this podcast. So, like, I both love and get annoyed with their support at the same time. So, but your parents are the thing that, like, help you not become the cog in the system and help you turn to be whatever it is you want to be.
Unless your parents
unless
have a different mindset.
Yeah, unless they have a different mindset, and then you find that elsewhere. But that mentor, that adult, that figure, that cartoon, that vlogger, that whatever it is that inspires you to take it upon yourself to utilize this knowledge, that's the key in it. Because sometimes it's not your parents, it's your basketball coach, or it's your say yes mentor that you didn't actually tutor from. So things like that.
I mean, it totally makes sense why you are the way that you are. You know, you're super optimistic. You're a hard worker.
It's annoying.
You see the bigger picture while you're in the thick of it. Get in the trenches doing the work, you know.
That optimism.
And that's how your parents are too.
Oh yeah, and they're crazy optimistic too. It's probably the most annoying thing about my personality. Cause like girl I'm talking to now, she is like, when she's mad at somebody, they're dead. Like, it's over. You're gone. And like, she doesn't give second chances. She's like so me. I'm the opposite. Like, heck, I had to like terminate somebody at my job on Sunday because of how they were like not being respectful toward me. And the whole process, and while that's happening, I'm trying to figure out how I can apologize so that we can come to agreements. I don't have to fire you, even though you're doing everything. You've come to work not in uniform. You've done X, Y, and Z for you to not deserve a job. And I'm like, but we can talk about it. And even in having to terminate, I'm trying to think of how can I let this person know so they don't show up tomorrow and not have a job. And I'm just like, I can't do that because that goes against my job. But I'm so positive. It's like, how can I still help this person? Because now they don't have a job. And it's a weird balance. So it's a dope thing for like humanity. But on the inside, it's like very frantic because you have to balance being an adult with being a nice guy.
Like tough love.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Tough love it's weird and difficult for me because I'm so, hey guys.
Yeah.
And it's even like when I'm DJing, people will come up and request songs. We really don't take requests. Like, the requests are probably the most annoying thing to a DJ. Our philosophy is we were paid to be here. It means the person hired us, trusts us to do this, get out of my face.
Point.
And a lot of times, some people will make requests like you can't, like if the most popular song is some song by DaBaby right now, I'm not playing that at 10 o'clock. We just got here. I'm not
right.
I'm not gonna play that right now.
Just turn right up, baby.
Like, no, go away. Like, if you know we're gonna we have this mix, we're gonna play this. Like I'm not gonna do that at 11 o'clock. So requests are the most annoying thing. But even in getting a request, I'm gonna respect you as a person and go, Oh, I'll let the DJ know, and I'll go to him and be like, I don't know what she said, but words. All right, and he'll go. And then, like, keep DJing. That way, I still acknowledged you as a human being and, like, spoke to you, but I'm ignoring you because we don't take requests.
Do you think it would be a smart idea to just get, like, shirts to wear that literally say, we don't take requests?
So...
Or is it just unspoken?
Now that you've said it, I might do it. But even then, people
would probably ask more.
Yes, because I think it's a joke. So I learned it at my job, Billy B's, because we have stop signs for the entrance and exit gates. We swipe everyone in and out so people don't leave their kids. Because people try to I'm going to go shopping. They're fine. No, they're not. Go watch your 4-year-old. But people will try to push through the gates every day, even though there's a 2-foot by 2-foot stop sign that says, stop. And we let you in the gate, so don't you think I'd have to let you out? So, I've learned with things like that, people read what they want to read or see what they want to see. So at a party, I'll even be over the microphone and say, yo, we don't. I've like there was one day I was in a bad mood. It's like, yo, we don't take requests. Don't do it. You got $20 in your hand. I don't want to hear it. They still came up to ask for their request, and then some dude came up. He was like, yo, you guys play this song? We're like, bro, we don't take requests. He's like, how much? It pulled out a 50, and I was like, what do you want to hear? We'll download it right now.
People are going like extra with it.
And I was telling Taryn the song. He was like, bro, I don't got that. I was like, get the song right now. So, and whenever we DJ, we have the auxiliary cord set up. So, like, my
you can plug like a phone in or something.
So that's my secret DJing skill is I'm the aux cord DJ. I
Got the fire stick.
Bruh, literally, there's so many times our turntables mess up or something would happen. I'll plug in and I'll keep DJing. Like one of our friends' weddings, we were DJing and they gave us like a set list of stuff they wanted to hear. So they went to go take the pictures right after the ceremony. It took way longer than expected. So we didn't want to play the songs they gave us. We want them to be able to hear it. So
gotta go rogue.
While they're waiting, Terrence set up the equipment. He's like, yo, plug in your phone. I was like, all right, cool. On Spotify, and I'm like, set up a queue. So a friend's so it's funny. So as I'm doing all that, my friend's at the table rocking out, and Terrence behind the turntable. So if you're not paying attention, it looks like he's DJing because Spotify lets you like fade in and out of songs. So it looks like he's DJing. So they're at the table rocking. They're like, yo, Terrence going off right now, and I'm like, that's not him. Like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, shit. That's my phone. Oh, but nah, like they're rocking out, and I'm like, oh, that's me. They're like, wait, that's you. So, and those friends that were rocking out at the table just got married, and I was the MC for their wedding, and they were like, the DJ they had, they were like worried because they didn't get to pick the DJ because of the venue, but the DJ he was like an old school New York City DJ. Like when I asked him how long he'd been spinning, he's like, I used to DJ under the bridge in '94. I was like, what? You got it. You the man. But I was emceeing their wedding, and it's just funny. Like, everything came full circle. But I literally DJ'd, like, 2 hours, like, hour and a half straight from my phone at somebody's wedding. And the room was like, okay. And no one knew. So, like, there'll be events sometimes.
That's awesome.
We won't have a song, and I'm literally just like, all right, unlock phone. I'm like, we're going to play this, this. So, aux cording is, like, the special skill and our secret weapon when DJing. Because sometimes people we'll be at like a 70s party. No, weird. I was born in 95. He was born in 90. I don't know that much 70s music yet.
Yeah.
But this Spotify playlist does. And we'll put together something real quick.
Fire.
And kill some time with songs we don't have. And then we'll tag back into DJing. And like we've gotten so good at it. Like the switches, people won't even notice the switch. Especially if we're plugged straight into like a speaker. So like I'll turn up the speaker on the right side and it'll just, you won't even know. Or his like, there's been times where his laptop has like just randomly said, oh, I'm gonna update. Music stops.
So you just put it on like shuffle on Spotify?
It depends on where we are. So like, no, he'll generally pick the first song. And then from there I'm like, all right, cool. We're playing reggae songs. Cool.
Okay.
Loads up 5 more songs, puts phone on airplane mode, go, whew. And no one knows because we'll still be behind the booth looking like we're doing something. Because I've learned, it's like, though we're still DJing and playing music, a lot of bar owners and a lot of managers, they don't want you to play a mix. They don't want you to play your phone. They want you to DJ because that's what they paid you for. So
you gotta play the part.
But moral of the story, if you want to be a DJ, you could use Spotify.
You can use Spotify. It's
Dude, I DJ'd in college. Freshman year, my friend and I, we literally just made fire playlists and played them and acted like we were fucking doing some shit, and people loved that.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you guys are the bomb.
Like, nope, I just, this song look hot, so we're going to play this.
And because we did that, we would get so drunk because, like, we didn't actually have to know, like, what was going on. As long as the music was playing, it was fire, and people were having a good time.
Hey.
And it comes in handy on all road trips, and my family recently accepted it. It's like my friends, like me, because we're DJs,
like,
my friend,
who's got the cord?
Literally, so like my friends would be like, "Oh, you Taryn or KJ, here you go." Whenever we would be in the car, and it's just natural. My family would just be like, "We'll play the radio," or my dad will be grooving. Now I get in the car, it's just like, "Here you go." It's like, my dad's thing growing up. The driver's in charge of the radio. Driver's in charge of radio. So He's in the car, I wouldn't touch it. Or I would get in the car first and start playing before he get in, and he just grooving. Now it's like, here you go. So I'm like, ooh. It doesn't matter where we're going. We could be like going to the grocery store or going to church, which is literally like 8 minutes away. We're going to get all 3 of these songs real quick. Like,
I always do that.
We
Like,
finna be hype on the way to church.
on like the way home from work, I'll hit like this one building that I know I'm like probably like 5 minutes away from home. Like, what's the song? What's it gonna be? I was like, I have like a minute to find it, and then that's all I got. So we rolling in.
or don't let us be like out of town and Ubering to like a bar or something. Sorry, can I plug in? Yeah.
The Uber driver's like, oh shit.
Listen,
Fire.
I've been booked from an Uber ride before.
Shit.
Whoa.
Getting booked while DJing is like the best feeling ever, because like sometimes you'll be in an event and you're like not even like trying your hardest, and they're like, oh hey, we're having an anniversary party, and I'm so glad I said that. I just remembered an event that I have to do soon. But like, yeah, we have an anniversary party in like a month. Or you want to know if you're free? Or like we'll be playing like in like the middle of a 90s set. And a lot of 90s sets sound the same. So we'll be grooving out and someone will be like, oh, I got a birthday party coming up. I want to know if you guys are free. It's like getting booked while you're DJing is like one of the best feelings ever. Because that way you know like somebody liked what you were doing.
That's a good point, yeah.
Shit.
So we're at the 3-hour mark. Quick question. What's your favorite food?
Tacos.
Hey, all right.
/ French
Yeah.
fries.
Wait.
All right, cut it.
No. There's a couple things we gotta cover before we end. One, let the people know where they can find you. Anything that's coming up,
Got you.
lay it out.
All right, that's fine. I'm actually good at this part. Not a shameless plug. I am The Confused Poet, and that's The Confused Poet on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Just Confused Poet on Snapchat. Someone else was The Confused Poet on Snapchat first, and it hurt my soul.
Oof.
On Instagram and Twitter, I'm also KJ Live, KJLIV3. That's where we get all the DJing and other stuff. Only events coming up. We have a benefit at Studio 54 on Saturday. One of our friends, her mom has breast cancer. So benefit from 5 to 8, Studio 54, Syracuse, New York. And the Poetry Slam, a Confused Poetry Slam, November 16th at Salt Space Theater. I think it's like 103 Wyoming Street. There are still rooms to sign up for the slam. There's 16 spots total. I think I got 7 filled so far. So contact me through any of those things. That way you can get your spot, pay your fee, get all the questions about the rules and everything. It's going to be a great night. Even if you're not going to slam, tickets to the slam are only $10. They're on Eventbrite. Just look up a Confused Poetry Slam. There's a Facebook event, a Confused Poetry Slam. Everything at Confused Poetry Slam. Or just type in hashtag Confused Poetry anywhere and you find me.
Hell yeah. So last thing, there's always a question that Kyle kind of started pulling out a while ago.
So given that we're interviewing people's stories and their self-development, personal growth, and we talk a lot about the human condition, this question hits home on that, on the core of that, and the question is, what does it mean to be human to you?
You guys are good at this. To be human, to me. Why do you guys do this? Well, no, I get why you do this. But, being human, to me, is being able to show compassion. To being able to show compassion. To care, to feel, is being human. Because if you can't feel, you're not, what are you?
So out of all of the human characteristics, you would consider compassion to be one of the priorities?
Yes, because caring about other people, even if it's for your own self-gain, is necessary as a person. You have to care, even if it's caring so that you grow from it, you care.
At the end of the day, maybe everyone's selfish.
Yes. No, everyone is selfish. Like, you want to love, even in love, you love somebody so that you can feel love. So everyone cares about themselves, but caring about yourself enough to care about others is the important part. Or caring
having an abundance of compassion
Yes.
towards yourself and to others. Or have an abundance of compassion towards yourself so you have a little bit more to give to others.
Yes. Yep, that's it right there.
Hell yeah.
Glad to have you.
Thank you. And welcome to, glad to know there's another Kyle in the world doing great things. Sir, you are awesome. You guys are both awesome. And where can I get Bindlism? In Boho Hobo Boho Hobo merch.
Website or through us, I mean.
So bohohobolifestyle.com. Check us out on Instagram at boho_hobo_, or check out our Facebook page at Boho Hobo Lifestyle.
We always plug it anyways, but might as well.
It's never a shameless plug. Plug yourself. You work hard for these things.
We're shamelessly plugging on our own fucking show.
Thanks. Why? Just like you guys asked me if I'm performing at my slam, why else do you have a show but to promote yourself at some point?
Yeah.
Like, we care about the human condition. Also buy this hoodie.
Yeah.
Or this hat.
Well, it sustains the human
this
condition.
shirt.
Yeah.
You need financial means, or else you will die.
Be like, everyone listening is like, shit, has this just been like a large advertisement the whole time? Fuck. Yes, it has.
But
So there you have it. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Bindlism, a philosophy to a self-sufficient lifestyle. Be sure to explore more episodes of Bindlism on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find more Boho Hobo stuff on Instagram and Twitter at boho_hobo_, as well as our Facebook page at Boho Hobo Lifestyle. It'd also be dope if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel as well at Boho Hobo. Our YouTube channel has more episodes from Bindlism in video form, as well as other random shenanigans we are up to. Also, don't forget, we have a website at bohohobolifestyle.com. You can find everything from our clothes, blogs, all of our podcast episodes, videos, and other stuff that we're up to. We are constantly filming new experiences, so it's one way you could stay up to date with us in our journey. Last thing before we sign off, if you haven't already and you have a second, we would really appreciate it if you could leave a review. This is a great way for us to see how the audience feels about the show, the good and the bad stuff, and help us form a better show long term. It will also allow us to get more traction on the podcast platforms to get more people tuning in. Well, I guess that's it. We'll see you next time on the next episode. Until then, peace out, and as always, explore endlessly.